Hello, everybody. Ready to go. Good morning. Good afternoon. There I am. Hi, everybody. How are you? I got to change. I think that's what it is. It's like my shots change and I'm higher in one than the other. And so I got to, where's my, yeah, something like that. Is it? Nope, that's not it. No, that's not it. That's not it. It's got to be this guy, which is locked. And then we bring it down a little. Oops, quit it. This guy, which is locked. Unlock it. And then I can, there I am. So I don't have to adjust my seat every time I sit down. And I'm like, why is it off? And I'm like, oh, well, that's because it's set differently. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Happy Friday afternoon. I start off, obviously, with some very sad news. The Trump rally for tonight, which would start in 1 hour our time, has sadly been called due to a tornado, no doubt caused by the gay-adjacent photographs leaked of Madison Cawthorn. God is unforgiving. I don't care what you've read about anyone not only being gay, but even allowing people to know that they're closeted gay or pretending to be gay. I'm obviously, because of queer as folk, I'm in huge trouble, but I've accepted that by now, and this is just new for them. So I blame Madison Cawthorn's Venmos for the possibility of a tornado in the area, and it is a shame that his dad from another glad is punished for his behavior. It's pathetic. But who needs that when we've got who needs a fake son of Donald Trump to get their jollies when we, ladies and gentlemen, have the next best thing to an actual Trump son? This guy, who apparently is in some way related to Donald Trump. He doesn't have any material proof of this, but I have heard tell that this is the case. Now, there's going to be survival food first. Oh, how appropriate. Because all these folks think that, they're going to end up, hold on, I have to close this dashboard. It's going to, tripling up. What's happening? Skip ad.
Okay, guys, this is really stuff.
Okay, guys, hang the fuck out. What? Okay, guys.
Okay, guys, this is really stuff.
Okay, guys, this is really stuff. I mean, you're 1 second in. Why start again?
Okay, guys, this is really stuff. The Biden...
Okay, and he's reading it, motherfucker. Okay, guys, this is really stuff, which is, by the way, something he says after he blazes a rail. Maybe, I don't know, is it, I think right now, there's a massive, there's a massive competition online between who can be the most red, who have the most red glassy eyes on the internet. And it's currently our front runners are Rusty Rockets, Russell Bland, and this dipshit. Okay, guys, this is stuff.
Okay, guys, this is really stuff.
Okay, guys, this is really stuff.
Okay, guys, this is really stuff. The Biden. Okay, guys, this is really stuff.
I'm sorry, I have to clip that for later. Okay, guys. Okay, guys, this is really stuff. Fucking one sentence. I'm not going to make it. This is 3 minutes and 50 seconds left of this. We are 1 second in, this motherfucker has just pegged the dumbass meter. Okay, sorry. You said?
Okay, guys, this is really stuff. The Biden administration under the Department of Homeland Security is creating a disinformation governance board dedicated to countering misinformation.
By the way, there's a lot of little bunny fuck yous hopping around this, so it's going to be very difficult for him to get through this. I'm just gonna predict right now. Orwell, 1984, up is down, black is white. What other bullshit narratives? It's we're basically living in China. What's the difference between us and Russia? Yeah, I'm just going to call it. Those phrases will make an appearance. And also the fact that he's fucking reading this. Look at this. We're 11 seconds in.
Okay, guys, this is really stuff. The Biden administration under the Department of Homeland Security is creating a disinformation governance board dedicated to countering misinformation. Give me a break.
One break coming up. Teen. All right. By the way, he has this. He went to the same. Reading a teleprompter is really scary. Therefore, pinch your fingers to accent the words you want to do.
Let me guess who it's going to counter. Okay.
Foreign influence campaigns. So I can see how you would take it personally.
Anyone who voices some dissent against the radical left and some of the insanity that they're pushing on America. No, actually not. No, as a matter of fact, it will have zero impact. As a matter of fact, they're not even going to give a fuck about your stupid Rumble posts. I know you want them to. Like, this asshole is praying he can get shut down by the censors so he'll have something to bitch about at his, like, pissant little paid visits to, like, bumfuck Iowa to help a right-wing Republican get elected. Some of the
as the third tier Trump
insanity that's destroying our economy, as we've seen.
Our economy. So we have I don't know if you, by the way, I don't know if I would consider that a Freudian slip. Sure, why not? Of course, this asshole doesn't say economy. He said, or economy. He says economy.
That's destroying our economy, as we've seen, certainly over the last days as we get our number.
Certainly over the last days as we get our number. Is it, fucking hell. Is there just a, is it just a, like, is there a contest of how many, like, just say it as fast as possible. It doesn't have to make sense. Just blather it out and just keep on talking, because it's really the speed at which you're talking that people actually pay attention. And therefore you don't have to create complete sentences. Nobody's going to really care. Nobody's watching this shit anyways, but I've got to meet quota, because if I finish this video and it's got the requisite number of words in it, and that's why I put notes underneath my monitor so I remember to say shit and I get it done in time, I could get a free line of cocaine. What
Another quarter like this, and we're officially in a recession because of this idiocy.
You mean the worldwide repercussions of a pandemic?
But it's going to be headed by Nina Jankowicz, who once claimed that militarized Trump supporters would show up to the polls with weapons to intimidate voters.
Yeah, little did she know they actually just showed up at the Capitol to try and intimidate election officials and electors and representatives.
She's also,
Keep reading. She's also what? She's also what? She's also on the third post-it to your right. It's right. It's right over. It's right over here. See it? See that one? Read that one next.
Talking about the laptop from hell and
what laptop?
Her Twitter feed, which reads like, Adam Schiff's Twitter feed.
Oh, so she's right on the facts, and she slams you and your dad and all your bullshit. Okay.
She knows.
You say that like it's a bad thing. Don't threaten me with a good time.
It's
that's a must follow.
Very important.
Thanks for the follow Friday, dipshit.
50 top forensic officials and CIA heads.
Oh, he's reading the same clip that was on whatever fucking thing we did yesterday. Like they all blur together because they all get their talking points from the same fucking place.
Believe that it's Russian disinformation. She obviously would have never even looked, but
Looked at what? Looked at what? Are you saying we should add her to the list of people who have never seen the laptop, which includes everyone?
It works for the narrative, so let's...
Don't get me wrong. McIsaac saw it, allegedly, as long as it wasn't more than 6 inches away from his face.
Go with it. I bet she believed that there was no way that the virus could have leaked from the Wuhan lab, right? That's totally would have been misinformation and totally censored. What could go wrong here, folks?
Well, did it leak from the lab, or was it intentionally put out from the lab? That's the distinction. Most of the people who got in trouble refused to make the distinction between leaking from the lab and somebody at that place selling animals that had been used for experiments in the wet market, which I'm here to tell you, having been to China many, 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 many times, that is something that is completely plausible, versus they created a weapon to destroy the earth and now it's turned on them like like they tried to chain up King Kong and take pictures of it.
She worked for the Ukrainian government, so I'm sure there's no propaganda coming out of this thing.
She worked for the Ukrainian government. Obviously a bad guy.
So instead of having a minister of disinformation, we probably just have a new minister of propaganda. The Ministry of Truth has now taken over America, and we are living George Orwell's 19...
Right, there we go. Like, do these guys have like fucking 4 cultural references? It's like the worst game of Twister. It's like arm, leg, on the mat, off the mat.
1984. You know, the fact that she did her Ukraine work under a Fulbright Clinton fellowship, probably a little scary given where we know that's probably all going.
Where we probably know where that's probably where we're probably, you know, did I mention Clinton? Just fill in the blanks. I haven't done any work. Still, this motherfucker's just flipping through Post-it notes.
But this is scary stuff, folks.
No, it isn't.
This is stuff that we have to fight back against.
Well, it's already too late. You just told me we live in 1984 and we're under a regime of ministry of, I mean, basically in communist China right now. I mean, there is no fighting back. Okay, just get ready to get welded inside your apartment
and say enough is enough. Okay, we have our own minister of propaganda in
No, we don't.
America. Like this.
No, we don't.
This isn't communist Russia.
Even Russia isn't communist Russia. Communist Russia was actually the USSR. Never mind.
Orwell called and wants her to stop plagiarizing her material, but
I didn't realize that Orwell's pronouns were she, her. I mean, you learn something old every day. I feel warned. I have to say, this is rattling to my boat. I think I'm going to have to dig a new cellar and fill it with prepper food at this point. Georgina Orwell. Up is down, black is white, balls are vagina. What is happening?
Democrats are doing this. They're doing it again and again.
Well, believe me, I'm a Democrat, and I love to do it. I just did it, and I'm going to do it again. You know you want to do it. Democrats. Hal Wick. That's right. I'm his lawyer.
We must now investigate what's going on.
The fact that he's fucking reading this dipshittery. We must now investigate what is going on. Here's what's going on. You're gacked out of your brains on drugs. You're doing chintzy rumble videos for coke money, and your dad ignores you. I don't know what else to tell you, man. There, in case closed. We have finished our investigation. We have to investigate what's going on.
Because if the DHS's own Ministry of Truth is out there deciding what we can and cannot say as Americans,
they're not. First of all, they don't. I mean, it just started, so they haven't even had time to start censoring people yet. But you get the feeling that these assholes are nervous that they're like money train from like foreign influence campaigns is going to get cut off by this group, and they're going to have to just do it for free as if they really mean it, which is antithetical to anything the Trumps do.
I don't know how this isn't just a flagrant violation of our First Amendment, but no.
Because it hasn't actually done anything that would violate our fundamental First Amendment rights. And foreign organizations, governments, and subversive organizations the world over don't have First Amendment protections in the United States. You kind of have to be a citizen.
No one's even talking about it.
Yeah, no one's even talking about the things that haven't happened yet being a violation of a law that I think exists.
Media, you know, they don't even want to talk about it.
Well, they can't. Obviously, the Minister of Propaganda won't allow them to talk about it. Oh, my God, we're already there.
The Democrats keep doubling down, tripling down on the censorship of a...
If you triple down, is that an up? Does it work like reverse, like double negatives? If you double down and then you triple down, are you going back the other way? That's the problem. It's like a shit game of football. It's 1 down forward, 2 downs back.
Opinions and facts that they don't like. Now, they're more than happy to push all sorts of nonsense. Just
oh, that's nice. Okay, good. Well, obviously, that's a level of projection, I suppose.
Look at some of the issues of today, the Democrats' hills to die on that they're taking. You know, many would argue about the truthfulness of this, the science behind the nonsense.
Only one little bunny, fuck you. Where's his friend? Oh, he's scrolling. I'm sorry.
They're pushing. But rather than police our borders.
Look at the fucking script on this shit. Like, they're like, look, dude, you're all over the fucking place. How about we just write this one out for you?
Take care of a human trafficking crisis,
Yeah, take care of the human trafficking crisis. Apparently, there's not enough humans being trafficked to staff Mar-a-Lago. It's a real problem.
Trafficking crisis, drug trafficking crisis at our border, homeland security.
The drug trafficking? Hold on. I'm not familiar with this problem. Give me 1 second. What were the problems again?
Human trafficking crisis, a sex trafficking crisis, drug trafficking crisis.
Yeah. Okay. So, sex trafficking crisis. Obviously, there's not enough sex being trafficked around. There's too much sex in traffic. That's obviously an issue in Florida. Too many Florida people trying to, you know, fuck the exhaust pipe of the car in front of them in traffic while while taking a shit in the middle of the road and nursing an alligator, whatever the fuck current Florida man crimes are going. And and drug trafficking. Nothing says you're on drugs like not being able to pronounce drugs.
Crisis at our border. Homeland Security has decided to make policing Americans' speech a top priority.
How? What the fuck does this have to do with Americans' speech? How is anything about this about Americans' speech at all? So are you telling me that Homeland Security, when they stop immigrants from crossing the border, those immigrants are automatically citizens? And they're being denied the rights of citizenship because they're not allowed to cross the border? Because that's effectively the what DHS's mission is stop out external forces from attacking the country. That's why it's Homeland Security as opposed to the FBI or something like that. It's got a very specific mission, and they're sworn to that mission. So their stuff is legally defined by those basic elements.
So they're creating a disinformation board. Seriously, this is happening right now.
It's happening, guys. It's totally groovy. It's the thing. It's heavy, buddy.
And again, just look to Nina Jankovic's Twitter feed.
Oh, I have. Believe me, I'm a big fan, and I'm becoming more of a fan by the second.
To see what the views are.
She wasn't on The View, was she?
See, do you think this is a moderate American that actually believes in free speech, or someone who's just willing to say whatever it takes to make sure that the narrative of the left is covered, and that you, if you disagree with that or have any sort of dissent there, you're going to be out?
Let me see. Well, I mean, she has to carry out the duties of the office, not just her own political. Oh, I see what it is. So your dad put people in charge of organizations that are supposed to be nonpartisan within the government. So you can't imagine anybody who might even have partisan leanings being able to do a nonpartisan job once they're in office, because you wouldn't given half the chance, because you're projecting your own selfish needs and desires, your lack of moral character and ethics, and your inability to process complex thought onto other people. Gotcha. Okay.
It's absolutely insane, guys.
Well, I'm glad someone wrote down that it's absolutely insane, so you wouldn't forget to say it.
It would be blatantly unconstitutional.
It would be? You mean it isn't? You mean it hasn't been? You mean they haven't done anything yet?
As far as I'm concerned.
Oh, well, as far as you're concerned. Well, Don Jr. for SCOTUS, I suppose.
But the government is creating a department to police speech. Think about what the Democrats are doing.
No, they aren't.
All of the things where they're taking and infringing on your liberties that they've so willingly done over the last couple of years.
Let's hear that. They've so willingly done over the last couple of years. We're infringing on your speech. The government is infringing on your speech. They've done it willy-nilly, nilly-willy over the last year. Tell us how it is. What did he actually do?
Years that they were so reluctant to give back.
That they were so reluctant to give back? What the fuck are you talking about? Masks? Asshole, that shit started under your dad. What are you talking about? All the, like, not being able to go to church, all that shit, that happened under your dad. That was your dad following the CDC's advice and implementing it. The Democrats
ended it by getting a majority of the people vaccinated, allowing for boosters, and making sure that there were antivirals available that could fight it, like the Merck pill and that kind of shit. Yeah, it's their emotion. It was just their emotional ties to masks that you should worry about, because some people were concerned that fuckos like you weren't really vaccinated or were willing to like cough a variant onto somebody who has an immunodeficiency. So because they felt concerned about that, that's the base reason why you should believe that a Department of Homeland Security task force dealing with Russian disinformation, which is a well-known asymmetrical warfare aspect of that fucking country, as is the Saudis and the North Koreans and the Iranians, normally people you would recognize as being concerning, but because you're going to fight back against those, and that's where your dad's loans are coming from, now you're pissed.
I believe there's amendments that cover this stuff, but like the fact that no one's even saying it won't.
Yeah, I think it's quartering soldiers. I think it's in the fine print. Is it the one with the well-regulated militia? Is that regulated? Because if it's a flame war and somebody nukes somebody in a flame war, would that be covered under defense? I don't know.
Don't even talk about it. Media is great with this because it'll make the lies that they've been telling for years seem like the truth.
I guess we're talking about Newsmax and Fox and OAN and all those organizations.
Orwell was apparently...
Oh, God. Was apparently what?
Or an oracle.
Orwell was apparently an oracle. Someone wrote that down for him and he fucked it up. You fucked it up. You fucked it up calmer than you are. You fucked it up. Calmer than you are.
Orwell was apparently an oracle.
Or an oracle. Orwell was apparently Urkel.
Don't let this stuff happen in our...
Don't let this stuff happen in our life. It's already happened. I don't know if you know this. We're living in basically communist Russia, or the U.S. as a Soviet Socialist Republic that wasn't Russia when it was communist. Never mind.
Country, folks.
Up is down, black is white. Prints are solids. Plaids are stripes.
No good can come from it, and it's going to be a total disaster. I'm sure I'll be back with more on this one in the not too distant future.
Not if the Department of Homeland Security can have anything about it. And you do realize that since that just started, if you are back, it shits on your own argument. These motherfuckers, they're literally... Yeah, think about this for a second. If he's able to do another video shitting on the government and the Biden administration and all this other stuff, and like if he's able to continue putting out videos, then clearly all of his warnings about the DHS program are bullshit. So I look forward to you, Don Jr., being living proof that this current video is bullshit. Congratulations. Just by showing up, you can fuck your whole argument. I think that's brilliant. By the way, you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. I do long form videos of these things. I don't, as best I can anyways, I do the whole video that they post. I don't take pieces out of context unless they take those pieces and say, this is exemplary of my argument. Now, there's occasionally a time when, for lack of time, people will blather on, guilty as charged, and I don't have time to do their whole video, so I'll do what is effectively a needle drop. I'll just get in and get out when I'm bored or they become too annoying or they venture, into another topic that we've already dealt with, and it's just boring anyways to the rest of us. And that, in those moments, even then, the piece that I play or react to is a whole complete piece. I will not multi-needle drop just to, grab stuff and fuck around with it. So I try, that's what this show is about. The other part is to show you that in all of these clips, if you watch a little bit, like it shows up on Raw Story or Twitter, and you see a little slice of something that people are either making fun of or saying somebody's really scary, then you might come away with the idea that the rest of the video, just by process of elimination, is either totally stupid, and which is most likely what it is, and yet millions of people believe it, so therefore it's like engaging material and they can't take their eyes off it, or that the rest of it was actually decent or well
well-spoken, descriptive, integral to the argument that they're putting forward, philosophical in some way, and it isn't. And when you watch the whole thing, you're like, oh, I see. These people are morons. This is blather. I have nothing to fear from these fools. And I think that helps. I think so. P.S. I'm having a tomato and pineapple salad tonight. I call it a terror salad. All right. Speaking of terror salad, one is about to be tossed right in your face, ladies and gentlemen. It's cowboy ninja in disguise. Glenn Beck. He's got some sort of black long shirt underneath here with his scarf that holds his neck in place. More Sonic. The fuck are you doing, Glenn? It's why you look puffy, dum-dum. And a box of tissues because he's sick again. I'm just saying, lay off the fucking soda, dude. If there's anything that will fuck up your immune response and weaken you and make you more apt to be, to get sick, it's sugar. As a matter of fact, there was a report done specifically, if I may. Let's see. I think it was as little as a teaspoon. Sugar weakens immune response. Let me see. This is years ago. Yeah, this is from 2020. Glenn, I hope you don't just listen when I'm shitting a hole in your show. But doctors warn that sugar can temporarily weaken your immune system. You may have another reason to kick that soda habit for good. Doing everything you can to keep your immune system strong can feel like a lot of work. Committing to exercise routine, good sleep habits, taking supplements, stress management, good nutrition. No small feat, but well worth your time and effort when it comes to staying well. But what if all your valiant efforts could be undone for about 5 hours just by eating one certain food? If you have a sweet tooth, submerged with a vengeance, it's staying home. This is in 2020. They wrote this. Listen up. According to nutritional studies and health experts, you might want to rethink your sugar habit. Too much sugar in your system allows bacteria or viruses to propagate much more because your initial innate system doesn't work as well. That's why diabetics, for example, have more infections. Let's see. There was how much? White blood cells, also known as killer T cells, highly affected by sugar consumption. Sugar hinders the immune system since, according to a study done on fruit flies, white blood cells are not able to do their job and destroy bad bacteria or viruses well when someone does not when someone does eat sugar. I think is what they does not eat sugar. Another study showed that high blood sugar affects infection-fighting mechanisms in diabetics. This has been well known for a long time. How much sugar? The nutrition study shows it takes about 75 grams of sugar to weaken your immune system. And once the white blood cells are affected, it's thought the immune system is lowered for about 5 hours after. This means that even someone who slept 8 hours, takes supplements and exercises can seriously damage their immune system function by drinking a few sodas or having candy or sugary desserts throughout the day. Studies published in the 1970s, but from 2011 expanded on the previous research and found that sugar, especially fructose, like the sugar in high fructose corn syrup, hence the soda shit, negatively affected the immune response to viruses and bacteria. This is just to give you a context how 75 grams of sugar can add up. One can of soda has 40 grams of sugar. Okay, in this beverage, that's 2 cans right there. That thing right there. That's what he drinks, depending on how much ice he gets, and he's probably one of these easy ice motherfuckers. That's 80 grams, approximately. Even if he gets ice in it, that's your 75 grams. Just that cup. Just, Glenn, you dumb son of a bitch. I hate everything about your politics. I think you're a lying piece of shit. But I don't wish illness, violence, or death on anyone. I do not. Unless it's my responsibility to carry it out, in which case I will do my best to keep it within positive ethical bounds. And it'll be a very short-lived thing. But I'd rather argue politics with someone than go, what'd he die of? He ate himself to death and his feet fell off. A low-fat sweetened yogurt can have 47 grams of sugar. A cupcake has 46 grams of sugar. Sports drinks can contain about 35 grams of sugar.
how many people think that Glenn Beck only has that soda a day? Never mind the fact that it doesn't just affect your immune system, it affects your cognitive ability, your sleep cycle. Yeah, I mean, basically, type 2 diabetes is like, pancreatic shock. So, anyways, Glenn, knock it the fuck off. Sorry, rant over.
A story that no one...
Oh, P.S., by the way, prepare for impact. Japan's inflation death spiral could be America's future.
Is paying attention to.
Nobody's paying attention to this. Glenn's on a kick where he's discovered stories that he's like, oh my fucking God, nobody even knows about this, especially when it's topics I've been talking about for a long time. Also topics that ruin his argument. We'll see. Let's see if Glenn takes a piece of news he just discovered and interprets it for you. Magically, it rounds out to buy his book.
This is
and prepper food.
Probably a story that no one is paying attention to.
No one. I'm sure I'm in that group.
And I think it's really important.
Great. Super. Let's hear it. Super important. Let's go.
Japan said that they would be the first Great Reset full adopter. Okay.
Did they?
And that made...
And we already got to his fucking book.
Made me curious a few months ago when I found that out. I'm like, what?
Hold on. Let's see. Japan first Great Reset adopter. This is what he's referring to. Japan's Great Reset. Japan's Great Reset speaker. These speakers are building on its traditional business philosophy of sampo yoshi. Japan has the opportunity to become a leader in stakeholder capitalism. At the same time, the current crisis has revealed which sectors need urgent reforms. What approaches, practices, and partnerships hold the greatest potential to shape a positive post-COVID future era in Japan? This session is associated with the World Economic Forum's Regional Action Group for Japan, simultaneous interpretation in English and Japanese. They have their own version, what is effectively of that. So they're not doing what the Davos version, the World Economic Forum's reason for it. And as a matter of fact, it even says it there you go. Japan's Great Reset is greater than the Davos agenda. Right. Same kind of thing. But and notice how nobody's talking about this. As a matter of fact, the third thing is literally his video.
Why? Well, I now know why. They are in serious, serious financial straits. They have been for a while. This is...
So they're trying the Great Reset, in theory, on their own terms, using their own methodology because they're in deep shit and they don't want to stay in deep shit? Is that your argument?
This is not a new problem. This has been going on, the decline of Japan since the 90s.
So a reset of sorts might be warranted, or...
Well, I read a story, what was it, Thursday or Friday?
I don't really remember. I mean, your secretary has not been returning my calls.
That the Japanese yen has fallen to its lowest level against the dollar in more than 20 years.
That's because the dollar's up, dumb fuck.
This means it takes more yen to buy a dollar.
What? Get out of town. Is that how that works? What? I can't even. I'm like, bro, my mind is like blown right now. This is like, fuck, if I'd have known this 65 years ago and I'd been alive, I could have been the next George Soros or the last or one of the ones in the middle. I don't know.
As of Friday, the 22nd, it was more than 125 yen to buy a dollar.
I'll buy that for $1.
Normally, only people who are like trading in currencies actually care about this.
Normally.
But the why behind the crash is why you need to care.
All right, the why. I used to go to the Y in the summers for sort of like summer camp. It was like this inside the Y, and you just stay during the day and go home at night. It was a fun club. It's really good. My buddy Kurt and I used to, during lunch, instead of bringing our lunch, his dad worked for the state. He was in the Board of Education, so he worked in the state building. So we would walk all the way across this mall behind the YMCA to a vending machine that was in his dad's building that had hamburgers you could microwave. It was fucking sweet. Retrospect, they tasted like cardboard and like with a squirt of beef flavoring on them. But I mean, when you're 11, 9 through 11, how many years I did it?
Okay. Because it could very easily lead to the crash of our treasury bonds.
Oh my God, because they won't have enough dollars to pay back the bonds themselves that they've taken out. You're not going to tell me there aren't enough dollars in the system for all the people who need to make bond payments, and that we need to print more money because we're not experiencing monetary inflation from the overproduction of money. We're experiencing supply shock. You're not going to say that, are you, Glenn?
And let me explain.
Please do.
Treasury bond.
Yeah, give us your short order on treasury bonds. Give it to us, big boy. Let's hear it.
Our debt.
Okay.
We issue treasury bonds every time our government spends money. And we have trillions of these out.
Well, no. Because the bonds themselves, we have like, I guess, $1 trillion max. Depends on it. If they're all for $29.
And nobody is buying them.
Uh-oh.
Okay? The days of us living high on the hog and, somebody will take this crap. Those days are over.
That's because we've got 0.25% in return on them. The stock market is doing too well. People are investing elsewhere. And by the way, people don't buy these fucking things because they don't trust us or they use it to park money. And a lot of the people that use it to park money lately over the last 20 fucking years have been, wait for it, Chinese and Russian. And those motherfuckers are no longer a part of the equation. Banks buy treasuries too as a way of, having covering their liquidity base without having to have just vaults full of fucking cash. It's like an IOU. Here, you hold on to the cash that you say we have. We'll own this. And then if we need the cash, we'll trade it in for all or part of it. Okay. Yes. Thank you for your big dumb answer. Our debt, which nobody wants. All right, here we go.
The Japanese are the largest holder of U.S. Treasury bonds in the world. They hold more than China.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, this is going to fuck with all of his viewers who think that China owns us because they own half our debt. The Chinese, even at the peak, had 8% of our debt. And this was years ago. It was like 2005 or something when our total debt was like 13 trillion. They had 8% of that. You know why? Because it was safe.
More than any European country.
Yeah, we know.
More than any other entity except the U.S. Federal Reserve.
Right. Because the Federal Reserve buys back treasuries and shelves them, which effectively removes money from the supply.
Why does the U.S. Federal Reserve own so many treasury bonds?
Well, you tell us, Glenn. I'm sure it'll be fascinating.
They never did that before.
Yes, they did. They've always done that.
They had to start doing it because no one in the world would raise their hand in auction and say, I'll take some of that American crap. Okay? So no one was buying it. So
yeah. I'll take some of that American crap. I mean, it sounds better in Arabic.
So the Fed put trillions of dollars of our debt, and they bought that debt by printing money.
No, they did not.
Okay.
No money got printed to cover that. There are no, I mean, this is just a stupid analogy people make all the times. If you're holding a security, you don't need cash reserves
to recognize its existence, especially if you're the fucking Fed. You don't have a liquidity issue if you're the Fed, dummy.
Japan is number 2.
Excuse me. I think Japan, don't let him talk to you like that. I think you're fantastic.
Japan holds $2 trillion of our debt. Now, the story that I read on Thursday or Friday was that the prime...
Don't fucking give me your interpretation of it, asshole. Show it on screen so I can reference it. This aggravates me. I'm sorry.
Minister had called Janet Yellen and called the president and said, we need a bailout. You got to help us out. You have to shore up the yen or we are done. Well, we didn't do that.
But Glenn, couldn't we just print money and throw some at them? I mean, it's the Democrats. They're communists.
We said we can't do that.
Did we say no can do? I can't go for that. Did we have Daryl Hall and John Oates call up and sing it to them?
And there's a couple of reasons why we can't.
Okay. China won't let us because Hunter Biden's laptop.
So
what are they?
With them being the largest holder, they're playing a game here. It's a shell game. The whole world is on this shell game.
Jeez, it's almost like he has an infantile view of the massive equity and finance markets of the global economy. Nah, I'm just kidding. He's just using fancy words that I can't possibly understand.
They have $2 trillion
shell game. Nah, I still don't get it.
In treasuries, and they're forced to sell those bonds to shore up their currency. This would cause our Fed to print more money to put trillions into buying those bonds, which would now be on the market. So inflation could go to 20%.
Okay.
That's the story you'll hear if you pay attention to Bloomberg.
Okay. So it was a Bloomberg article. All right. Fine. Let's do a little investigative work then. Bloomberg. Let's go to Bloomberg.com and we'll go and then I think get monthly digital. I'm already in here, you dummy. Hold on. Go to the thing and we'll try to find out. Doobie-doobie-doo. All right. Okay. And let's go to Japan bonds. Yellen. Let's see there. Yen slide by doubling down on bond purchases. Bank of Japan sparked a sharp slide in the yen against its dollar by doubling down on its promise to defend a rock bottom yield target that is President risk spikes. When was this? 28th? That's it's yesterday. So risk spikes vulnerable yen as Fed meets during Japan holiday. Yen's historic fall signals rewrite of global currency playbook. Maybe that's it. Threatens to leave it significantly weaker for years to come, shaking up global money flows and undermining Japan's efforts to strengthen fragile economy back on Earth. Let's go. That's a video on it. Son of a bitch, probably just watched the video. Okay, let's go here. Get out of here. No, I don't want to sign up. No, thank you. Go away. Here you go. Japan warns on yen after Bank of Japan's bond vow sparks. Thanks. Hi. Thanks. I like when they use my name in any story. Slide past 131. Yen hits 131 per dollar, prompting finance ministry warning. Kuroda sticks to view that weak yen is positive for the economy. Doesn't sound like what Glenn's been talking to us about, but what do we know? Japan's finance ministry issued its most strongly worded warning yet on the yen slide, saying it would respond appropriately to abrupt moves after the currency plunged on a promise from the nation's central bank to keep bond yields at rock bottom levels. The finance ministry remarks represented a stepping up in language from government officials on the currency, though they don't point to a possibility of imminent market intervention. Bank of Japan said earlier Thursday that it would buy an unlimited amount of bonds at a fixed rate every business day to protect a 0.25% ceiling on 10-year government debt yields as part of its stimulus measures. The yen weakened sharply against the dollar after the policy meeting breached the 130 mid-mark. And after touching 130 early in the evening, it strengthened to 130.19 after the finance ministry's comments. The Bank of Japan kept its main yield curve control settings and the scale of its asset purchases unchanged, according to statement Thursday. That sounds like it's terrible. That decision has been widely expected by economists, which is, they're expecting Armageddon. Although there had been speculation the Bank of Japan would do or say something to try and halt the slide in the currency. Instead, the policy decision following press conference only accelerated those losses. Stocks in Tokyo finished a day up 2%. Suggesting that investors still see a weaker yen as good for Japan's biggest companies. Yields on 10-year government bonds fell to 0.215%. Not yet. They don't expect any policy tightening. They expect them to drag ass for a while, and then beyond this, forever, they're going to have to eventually rank it up. That's the thing. The decision about in some sectors of financial markets, there were moves to try and gauge BOJ's policy stance by testing whether they should buy bond operations or not. Okay, again, this is kind of shit you hear, and it's like a blip, and 10 years from now, you're like, was there a spike at some point?
But that's just a small part of what's going on.
Well, it would have to be, because I looked at the article that you were probably referencing, and I was bored so quickly my ass went numb.
We know that Japan has the worst demographics in the world.
Somebody's been watching Peter Zion videos while he's in the parking lot of Sonic.
It's the oldest population in the developed world. 3.4 retirees over the age of 55 for every one worker under the age of 30.
Mm-hmm. I love his coy information face. I just read this, so that means I understand it.
So that one worker is expected to work to support 3.4 people. So nobody's entering the workforce. If you're young, you're not going into the marketplace. The Japanese stopped having kids after the Asian miracle ended in 99, and Japan's...
Yeah, totally. Not one child born after that point. They didn't stop having kids. They largely stopped fucking, but they definitely... have had kids.
Economy crash. Remember the stories where they can't get guys to be even interested in sex?
Yeah, and I don't understand that, considering how inviting and happy their porn is. I'm just saying, maybe, try some porn that's not so, tentacle rapey. It might make you feel better about the whole thing.
Consider this.
Okay.
Toyota and Honda, the two best-made, best-selling brands in the world, right?
Right.
Testaments to Japanese ingenuity in manufacturing.
Yeah, unless they're built in Tennessee, in which case there's kind of a mix.
Except the Japanese demographics are so upside down, virtually no Hondas or Toyotas are actually made in Japan anymore.
Right. A lot of them are made... You guys want to tell them? Anybody want to scoot up in here? Here.
More than a decade ago, both companies realized they couldn't find any workers, and that's why they're here in the U.S., Indonesia, and the Philippines.
They're where? Wait a minute. These foreign cars are actually domestic after all? The cars are coming from inside the house. Ah! Click.
These companies were not alone.
I love when he's reading it like a children's story. All I'm picturing is Stu on the other side of the room, eating cereal, going, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In the past 20 years, Japan has lost almost its entire manufacturing base.
You know what they should do is put one of those Apple tags on it. That's how if I lose my keys, that's how I find it. It makes a little bling, bling, bling bling noise. It might help. I'm just saying.
Does any of this sound familiar?
Let's see. Yes, a little bit of it. A little bit of it sounds vaguely familiar. Mostly the tone that you use when you pretend to know shit. That's pretty consistent. You know that tone that Glenn Beck just read a story. Huh? What did I say? He's been doing that fucking garbage for 25 years.
Save a few technology sectors like motherboards and microchips.
Microchips are not selling. I don't know why. Mainly because they hold very few passengers, like one tow and then bloop.
Everything else is not made in Japan.
The irony.
This means their taxable income is gone. And as they move over...
I don't know. I mean, I think they've got a VAT tax on hentai.
Seas.
I just think they should charge a per tentacle.
Where labor...
Microships do suck. I went on one of those cruises. The cabin was ridiculous. It was basically a corset.
Is available and costs were lower. Some of the profits flow home to Japan, but most of the revenue generated stays in countries where manufacturing is occurring.
Like the United States.
So they had to make up the shortfall. What do? You
reboot Godzilla. Samurai swords in knife gift shops. I'd buy every one I pass by.
They had a plan.
Well, something you're unfamiliar with.
They started selling more and more Japanese bonds to cover their deficits between the massive welfare state and the tax base. So they just started selling bonds. This is where we're at. Japan has the person.
No, this is where we are. We aren't. But don't end a sentence with a preposition.
The highest personal income taxes in the G7. It also has the highest debt to GDP in the developed world. Our debt to GDP is 130%. That's the highest we've seen since World War II. Japan's debt.
By the way, anybody with a mortgage, let's say your house costs like $400,000 and you make $100K a year. What do you think your debt to GDP is? Your net GDP, your net income for the year versus your debt ratio is? What if you want to repair your house and you take out an equity loan on it of $20,000 to fix the roof so that your $400,000 isn't worth $130,000 by the time you have to pay off the $400,000? See where I'm going?
Debt to GDP is 253%.
Dear God. It's almost as if the TPP, if TPP had gone through, Japan would have been able to right itself because they wouldn't be competing with the artificially low worker rates in China and the manufacturing being undermined at home. See, it's almost as if it would have been nice if somebody hadn't squashed that.
Okay, that's double ours.
Yeah, the math checks out. Yeah.
So their economy was collapsing. They had to sell bonds. Then they got to the place we are, and they were like, nobody's buying our bonds.
We're not in that position. Because if we were in that position, Japan wouldn't have bought our bonds.
So what did they do? Now, remember, this just was stated by the Biden administration as something that is coming our way. What they did, so the country wouldn't collapse, they went and they sold Japanese bonds to investors in Japan at 0% interest. Now, why would a company take something where I'm not going to grow on my money?
Because it's a safe spot to park your money instead of having currency in banks or in vaults. It's a cashier's check you keep in a safe instead of a giant safe full of yen and by the way, at a set value for the yen itself.
And lock my money into a Japanese bond for 10 years. Why would you do that?
Because you plan for your company to be around for 100 years?
Because the government mandated it. If you were a retirement fund, you had anything to do with Japan, you were investing.
Anything? You mean like Steven Seagal had to just put his money in? All right.
You had to put a percentage into government bonds. So they bought these government bonds, which allowed them to then print more yen. And then what did they do? They took that money and they bought our government bonds, which were returning about 2% interest to them.
And somebody cut the interest rate almost to zero and was talking about going negative.
Now, that 2% interest, think of this, that's coming out of your pocket. So we're paying them interest on $2 trillion in treasuries is about $40 billion a year. So we're sending $40 billion, and that's fine. That's a deal we're buying turtle tunnels. I mean, we need.
I beg your pardon. My turtle tunnel is not for sale. Sell your own turtle tunnel.
Need those things.
We don't need. No, you're right. I do not need a turtle tunnel. What the fuck?
But Japan's entire defense budget is $47 billion. So we are, in effect, funding 40 billion of their $47 billion in defense. But then we also provide about $10 billion a year in discounts for guns and ammunition and everything else. So we are paying 100% of their military.
No, we're not. Just because they have a $47 billion military budget, I'm sure they have a $60 billion retirement, payout that they have to do. We're not paying, 80% of that or whatever the fuck. You don't get to look when we loan money to a country, especially one that's an ally. You can't just pick what parts of their economy we're paying for. And secondarily, if that's how it's really working and we're selling them discounted guns like wholesale or military equipment with the money that we're paying them, aren't we just getting that money back? Aren't we basically getting $2 trillion in free investment money and not paying? What the fuck? What? See, what's happening is they give us $2 trillion. And in exchange for that $2 trillion, we have to give them $40 billion a year. But we give them a deal on $30 billion worth of stuff. The other $10 billion they have to pay cash for. And then they end up giving us $43 billion a year for military assistance and ship maintenance and guns and all that kind of stuff. So we're making money on the money we're making money on. Fucking hell.
This isn't by accident, and it's not a bad deal.
Yeah, I guess not.
Actually.
Jesus.
Our government is more than happy to do that.
You can't be more than happy. Happy's the top. Just saying. Ecstatic it's fine. It lasts a couple of seconds. But if you stay there, medication.
Because Japan is the most important strategic defense partner when it comes to containing China.
No, they aren't. Or we would have formed the JUCUS agreement before we formed the AUKUS agreement that's becoming the JAWKUS agreement.
Or defending Taiwan. We have 55,000 U.S. troops stationed in Japan. Japan is the only foreign country in the world out of which the U.S. has permanently operated a U.S. carrier battle group.
Yeah, but we just opened up a submarine port in Australia specifically for defending Taiwan and the South China Seas. And?
So, back to the yen being in free fall.
Yeah, back to that. Yeah, but we almost forgot that.
To keep their bonds at 0% and then make that arbitrage thing work.
Fuck, man. I feel a lot better about when I go off on demographics and money stuff
Because I'm not this boring, am I? Please, would you guys tell me if I get this fucking dull? I'll do it in character if you want. Shit.
Japan has to continue to buy.
Yeah, James, I know. Like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Glenn says, I'm from Australia and you're 100% wrong. Laugh my fucking ass off. I know, it's ridiculous.
Buy its own bonds. But that's through quantitative easing, printing. So they print more yen to buy their bonds. And anytime the yield goes above zero, they're in trouble. They're creating artificial demand for their bonds. When the yield on the Japanese government bond.
By the way, this is another way that countries remove liquidity from the market by stabilizing it. So you have, let's say every big company has a fucking warehouse full of cash, and that cash they start paying for everything in cash. They pay their employees in cash. There's a lot of cash floating around, and then that drives monetary inflation, right? So what the government does is goes, you got to put some of that cash into a bond so it's not moving around, slushing in the system. That cash itself, you got to give us that cash. We'll give you a bond. And then we're going to burn that fucking money. And then if you ever need, when you cash it in, we'll give it to you, but we'll pay you a little bit of that cash to fuck around with during this time. And the rest of it's here when you're waiting for you, but it won't just move around in the system. That's their way of guaranteeing there isn't too much liquidity.
Went to 1%, 2%. Our 10-year bonds would not be able to service that debt. So our bonds, they no longer have the $40 billion for their military, et cetera, et cetera. They have a debt of 253%. It would cost them to pay interest on their debt more than they ever collect in taxes. So to pay the debt, they have to print currency, buy the bonds, buy ours, and we buy theirs, and it just starts all over again because we have to print.
We're not buying their bonds to pay. What the fuck?
Money. They have to print money. And so it goes into this.
No, it doesn't. Wait a minute. Back the fuck up. Like he was kind of rudimentarily figuring this shit out a second ago. And then when did the part come in where the U.S. is buying their bonds? We were selling them weapons in your last description.
They have to print currency.
Okay.
Buy the bonds.
Their bonds.
Buy ours.
Buy our bonds.
We buy theirs. And it just starts all over.
No, where the fuck did that come from? What? Yeah, it's as if there's a bond market, right, Core Girl? Yeah, I know. Shocking.
Again, because we have to print money. They have to print money.
We don't have to print money. That you're throwing that part in on your own. That's why he looked up from the fucking paper he was reading. Like he knows this shit. He's just reading it from a Bloomberg article, and then he's inserting his own beliefs.
And so it goes into this inflation death spiral, and that's where they are right now. They're at the beginning of the inflation death spiral. So
says Glenn Beck, prognosticator of prognosticators, seer of all seers. Groundhog of all groundhogs.
Here's the problem with all of this.
Your interpretation, your inability to understand complex systems, your rudimentary belief in old-fashioned fiat currency monetary policy, your idiotic attachment to gold, your own audience's inability to process any of this information, Stu falling asleep, the fact that half of your thoughts are caused by a sugar panic in your spine.
If they collapse, really collapse.
Yeah, not like one of these pissant collapses. Sure.
Who can bail them out?
My God. And remember what happened the last time Japan collapsed. We were fine. Yeah. I guess they could always sell us Toyota and Honda.
We can't.
So?
We're close to a death spiral.
No, we're not.
So who bails them out? And what happens when next September President Xi goes in front of his People's Congress.
Yeah, whatever they're called. I haven't really paid attention to it. His People's Congress with the revolutionary gathering of the People's Republic of Humans.
And says, okay, everybody vote. I am dictator for life.
Okay, everybody vote. I mean, it sounds better in Chinese, but okay, everybody vote. I am dictator for life. Then what happens to Japan? Holy shit. They're going to have to get an emperor.
When that happens, and if Japan is out.
Japan's out. They're taking a nap when this happens. They wake up and they're like, what the fuck happened? Wait, China has an emperor now too? What?
We are so weak with everything else that is going on.
Why would we be weak with everything else that's going on? The fuck are you talking about?
Do you think we're going to save Taiwan?
Yes. Taiwan? What do you think? You think the Japanese military is just going to cease to operate because they have extreme inflation? The Quad? Anybody?
How would we even do that?
Well, we wouldn't. We wouldn't have to. I mean, we could definitely offer help, but we'd probably do it in concert with European countries, more than likely, because we're not their only partner in the world.
How would the West protect Australia?
Well, we gave them nuclear-powered submarines, and we're parking ours there temporarily until they start making them. And there's an actual factory being built there in Perth to create nuclear-powered submarines. And so our carrier group, parts of it are in and around Australia all the fucking time. The Japanese are not showing up in traditional boats and floating around there to protect the Australians. What the fuck?
By the way.
No, not by the way. Explain what the fuck you're talking about.
All of this is happening because the Fed said, and the Treasury said, we can't bail you out.
Okay. All right. We can't bail you. All right.
But what you probably don't know.
Well, I don't know a lot because I've been watching this video and I feel like a hole has been bored into my prefrontal cortex.
That we reported on about 3 months ago.
Yeah. Give it to me.
The Fed did bail the Bank of Japan out. The Fed gave them $7 trillion.
And where is it now? They snorted all of it.
That was in Q3 and Q4 of last year. We're in Q2. $7 trillion they've burned through already.
Yeah. Just, I have to say, manga is expensive, especially the collector's versions. And now that every Japanese person has one of the Akira motorcycles, I think they can tap it back. I mean, not everybody needs a vending machine that sells used schoolgirl underwear in their actual house. I think it's extreme.
Prepare for impact.
Prepare for impact. This motherfucker just going to commercial with prepare for impact. Hold on one second. Let's see. Japan, 7 trillion. Let's see, total assets, 95 to 98, government plans, direct spending of 7 trillion yen. That's 2016. 4 days ago. I'm going to keep working for 2% inflation, Fed's aggressive interest rate hike, plans jolt policy in China and Japan. Okay, this is... that would have been 3 months ago. So let's see. I'm trying to find what he might have been talking about. I mean, there's no way I'm going to fucking track this back. It's June. This is maybe might be what he's talking about a little bit. I can't tell. The $5 trillion monster now tormenting Japan's 2021. Let's see. Get out of here. Bank of Japan Governor Haruhiko Kuroda may have just pulled off history's biggest tease. Since 2013, Kuroda has overseen an unprecedented expansion of central bank's balance sheet. By 2018, it topped the size of Japan's $5 trillion economy. And has only grown since, though most of the purchases were bonds. The BOJ has hoarded stocks via exchange-traded funds with increasing fervor. In 2020 alone, Kuroda's team added $65 billion to its ETF holdings, making the BOJ Japan's investment whale. That's up from $38 billion in 2013. Yet in May, here comes the big tease, the BOJ went an entire month without adding to its EFT holdings, the first 30-day pause in 8 years. That has many investors believing Kuroda is suddenly seriously pulling BOJ support for stocks. But don't bet on it. Japan's COVID-19 recovery lags the rest of the developed world, and perhaps significantly, the yen's 6% drop versus the U.S. dollar tells the story as well as any data set. As North America and Europe stabilize and begin producing decent growth, forces behind Japan's downturn remain stubbornly negative. Retail sales, industrial production, wages, and business confidence have many convinced Japan might not return to pre-COVID levels until 2023. China is doing so now while laggards are, well, this was obviously before the lockdown of Shanghai. In April, core consumer price fell for 9th straight month. And by the way, if you'll notice, when I talk about these things, I put them on screen. What are you doing? Get back down here, you crazy person. Ghost movement of the article. Ghost article. What are you doing? Quit it. Get back up here. I put it on the screen so you can take a look at it and know what I'm referencing, at the very least. Unlike this dipshit. Prepare for impact. Basically what it is that they need another round of stimulus, not unlike the American Rescue Package, which we did, which helped stabilize our country. They need another infusion of that. Because they're a small island country, in a lot of ways, it's got to come from outside. They got to buy bonds, or they got to have some sort of issuance that they can do to increase the monetary supply in their country without devaluing their currency too much. And they really don't have a lot to work with because of who they are. Meanwhile, this fuckhead, until 2023, when things might stabilize.
Prepare for impact.
Shut the fuck up. He wrote that down.
Because it is happening. The reason why they said they'd be number one on the boat for the Great Reset is because if we say jump, they are forced to say how high.
What? If they do the quote-unquote reset by themselves first, they default on all of our debt. What? I mean, it just erases, it just throws a monkey wrench in the whole thing. That's not a positive. What the fuck? Jump how high?
But we no longer have enough juice to tell anyone to jump because we need all of that juice.
Oh, I got the juice. Believe me. Whatever. And when I say juice, I mean petrol. Got to make sure that I don't want people... Never mind. I was going to do some Lord Flashheart, but nobody will get it.
Ourselves.
And it goes to fucking commercial. We don't have any juice ourselves. Go to commercial right now. I got away with it. I said something stupid, and they bought it.
If you enjoyed this video,
I hated it. I thought it was ridiculous. It was a waste of time. It was some of the dumbest shit he said so far, and that's saying a lot. Lady in red looks like a microwave version of Amber Heard in Aquaman. Lady in red. I talk to you guys sometimes about demographics and about the economic markets and that kind of stuff, to try to speak freely with people who have these preconceived notions about economic structures that they've been had shoveled on top of them for a long time, like we keep printing money, that bullshit, which is not true. That's not how we solved our issue. Largely what we did was we loaned money into existence, and it is being used to expand business and hire people back. And you make money on the Fed made money on the 2008 crash. The U.S. taxpayer made money on the 2008 crash. Do you hear me now? And if you don't do it, you lose all that business that dies during that time, and you don't make that profit. Fucking hell. So watching Glenn Beck try to like slither through this and act like he understands what the fuck is going on is increasingly frustrating. Now, let's see. The next, it's so hard. This next one's relatively short. But the nice thing is it has three stupid people. Three stupid people in one. And it starts with Salcido here, who decided, I guess, at the initial meeting to start his show that he, like, I can't pick one of those backgrounds. So how about you just stack a bunch of TVs behind me for old time's sake and just put all the logos up? Yeah, they're free, right? Oh, totally. We're not paying for this shit. Well, then, yeah, throw it all up behind me. It's not distracting or messy at all. All right. Free speech finally coming to Twitter. This is the Elon Musk is their savior idea.
$4 billion promising to restore free speech to that platform. Musk is...
Okay, he's also very quiet. Beg your pardon. Some of these videos aren't as loud as the other ones.
Is also pledging to clean house of committed leftists.
No. I didn't see that tweet. I've watched a lot of his. I haven't seen the clean house of committed leftists part.
They're bad for business, you know.
Are they? Okay, good to know.
Employees who don't value...
You know, Glenn Beck's bad for business as well. I don't know if you've seen any of his videos, but they're pretty stupid. If you were a business person, you followed his advice, it'd be bad.
Free speech are simply walking out. Independent journalist Andy No says these anti-Americans are sick of hearing about free speech. I bet you they are. Joining me now are the hosts of Diamond and Silk Crystal Clear and co-authors of Uprising.
From my sources, vocal Twitter employees on internal chats indicate their biggest fear of John Zimmerman and express strong hatred towards Zuma. They're sick of hearing about free speech. They're concerned about their mental health.
The hell said you can't ditch and switch? The lovely...
Oh, is this? Yeah. Oh shit. This is a Diamond and Silk video. Yeah, there they are. Diamond and Silk. People don't have to continue to go along with this nasty, sinister narrative. Nasty. Janet, if you're not.
The ladies themselves, Diamond and Silk. It is always wonderful to see the two of you.
They're not there. This is just are you just putting their tweet up? On this day, Diamond and Silk testified Congress about censorship, algorithm being shadow banned and demonetized. We were told by a lot of crazy and delusional people it was all a hoax. Will you believe us now? We tried to tell y'all. They tweeted that. Apparently it's... I mean, I don't see any... This is obviously a graphic reproduction because no one liked, commented, shared, or messaged them.
Now, you tweeted on Tuesday...
That you could still tweet, and apparently they could still tweet. They weren't. What the fuck? The liberals at Twitter are slipping.
That day was for a year anniversary of when you both testified before Congress about censorship, the algorithms being shadow banned and demonetized. You both were told you were crazy. I remember this, but it turns out.
Did they just say you're crazy in Congress? That's what they said to you? They went, you're crazy. Next.
It was Twitter that was lying.
First of all, how are they monetized on Twitter in 2018? I would like to know.
How do you guys feel being vindicated?
Citation needed.
Well, we feel great being vindicated because all of these here, platforms like the Google and the Facebooks, they all...
The Google, the Facebook, smoking the pot, watching the TV. Anybody who adds a "the" to the beginning of stuff.
Twitter, they all follow sort of like the same guidelines, in my opinion.
Yes.
Right.
So they do. The whole like terms of service thing, like no beheading videos, no child porn, no swearing, no racial epithets, that kind of stuff. Well, I guess some. Talking to you, YouTube and Facebook.
The fact that Elon Musk bought it for $44 billion. If he can come in and change the game, if he can provide transparency and show us and let us know who was censored, why we were censored.
Or if you were censored.
Then I believe that will bring transparency to some of these other platforms like Google and Facebook, where we have so many million people. 2
so many million people. How many is that? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar.
Platforms like Google and Facebook, where we have so many million people.
2 so many million. Okay, that's a lot.
That's a lot. I don't know exactly how much it is because I've never heard of that number
We
before.
want to
But
allow those people to see our content.
yes, they're really missing out.
And that's because of
Yeah, I mean, I want to look at that, dining room area into the foyer past the second table in the kitchen. I want to see it from another angle,
the
personally.
algorithms, the
If there is an angle, otherwise it's the weirdest set I've ever seen.
shadow banning and all of that. So I think it's a good thing that
Right.
Elon Musk want to bring back our First Amendment rights, wanted to be fair
Well, you never lost your First Amendment rights. Private companies are not responsible for letting you say anything. You are responsible.
and equal.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. You guys do believe in a nanny
Let's see
state.
if he hold up to his end of the bargain.
That's right. And it should be fair and square across the board. If it's supposed to be an open platform for all thoughts and ideas.
It's obviously not. No platform is open for all thoughts and ideas. Yeah. Unless you're looking forward to a day when there's a verified Holocaust denier account on every platform.
It shouldn't be one person or one side trying to say who can speak and who shouldn't be able to speak.
Right.
Just because we choose to go against a particular narrative.
Well, you can speak all you want. This isn't, you type on here. I mean, I guess technically in Spaces you speak,
Own investigation
but they don't even bother to look at that. Spaces is one of the most racist, awful gathering places on the internet.
and see it from a different perspective should not mean that they get to silence us.
Yep. And we used to value disagreement in this country, but not anymore.
No, we don't. We did not. We did not used to value. I'm kidding. See what I did there?
Including down the cable dial here at MSNBS. The
NBS? I guess it's bullshit, but. So would that make you guys MBS, kind of Saudi or whatever? We used to we used to agree to disagree.
country, but not anymore, including down the cable dial here at MSNBS. The racist over there, Joyless Reed.
By the way, Joyless Reed, adorable. I don't really think of Newsmax being on a cable network. I mean, I know they show up on some cable boxes in like hotels and stuff, but you guys are really an internet site. I mean, come on.
Had a lot to say this week, even accusing Elon Musk of wanting to bring back apartheid because he promotes free speech. I guess
I'm sure that's exactly what she said and exactly how she meant it, because when can you not trust Chris Salcido to explain? I think that's his first name, right?
people don't like watching hate-filled black communists anymore.
They don't? Why? That's ridiculous. I'll have you know that Red Fox is one of the fun. All right.
Joe, the readout.
He's not really a communist, but he was, hate-filled. Well, whenever Ann Esther would come over.
Finished this month with its smallest monthly audience ever. In fact, 51% of her viewership is gone from that show's debut in July of 2020.
It's weird. It's almost as if Democrats aren't white-knuckling the news every day.
It proves to me that hate just doesn't sell anymore, does it, ladies?
Yeah, the problem is it sells in yen and they're not worth what they used to be.
No, it doesn't sell. And Joy Reid, she is the example of a race baiter. All she do is race bait, and then she trends on Twitter. I think people.
Is that how easy it is? I've been trying to trend on Twitter for a long time. Is that what I have to do? I don't know that I'm comfortable doing that, though. I don't want to race bait, but if that's what I got to do.
People are getting sick and tired of it.
All right. Well, then I guess it's not going to work, so I won't try it then.
People are getting sick and tired of her antics. People are tired of it because what they
You seem exhausted. Do you need a nap?
trying to do is they try to split us up.
Yeah.
They try to do a
Not Diamond and Silk. Who wants to see Diamond alone or Silk by themselves? That's not how it works. That's like listening to the song Diamonds and Pearls, on an 8-track when it would click right in the middle. And they give you diamonds and pearls. If I could, I would give you the world. Anybody remember the nightmare that was 8 tracks?
comparison. What are those black boys doing there at a DeSantis event? Why would you say that? Those
Did you say, what are those black boys doing at a DeSantis event?
Black boys, listen, they could have been out in the streets selling drugs.
Yeah, those are the two options. Thanks, Diamond. Way to, Jesus Christ. So these are the choices for young black men in our society. What the fuck? I'm just saying, any black people that are listening, I happen to believe, and call me crazy, that you have a lot of options of behavior that you might want to partake in. You don't have, your choices are not selling drugs on a corner or going to a DeSantis rally. And in many ways, not only do you have a lot of other things, you could probably do both of those at the same time in some way.
They was at a decent event.
That's right.
Okay.
She's a race baiter is what she is. And I can't wait to see the day where we don't even look at TV and see her anymore.
But here's the funny thing, Chris.
Well, you know, there's a real easy way to do that with almost anyone. There are other channels. I mean, you can't obviously watch this one because they talk about her all the time. And then on MSNBC, she's on basically an hour a day. And then when they do election coverage, she's on regularly. But the rest of the day, you don't see her. And then like she's hardly ever on HGTV. And I have never seen her on Ancient Aliens, which I think is a mistake.
I don't hear her saying anything.
Joy Reid's racist mouth. So she's not a racist person. It's just her, your eyes say no, but your lips say racism.
Think about those black people that's standing there with Biden. And we know Biden's what his history consists of.
Oh, they call him Jim Crow Joe, by the way. I don't know why.
She don't call them saying that they're being abused or what have you. So, I mean, look, stop being hypocritical. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's just, it's one thing or another. It's 6 of one, half dozen of another. It's something, in the middle of nowhere.
People have an option, an opportunity to think for themselves.
That's right. People have choices in life. Thank you, Silk. You can sell drugs on a street corner or go to a DeSantis thing. You have a lot of things to choose from in this life.
To think outside the box. People don't have to.
Yes, you can think outside the box. You could sell drugs in the box. I don't know if you could listen to the DeSantis. You could go to the DeSantis thing in a box. I think you have to wear clothing. I don't know what the box is. I don't know if there's a dress code.
Go along with this nasty, sinister narrative that they want everybody to go along with.
That's right.
That's right. This nasty, sinister narrative that young black men only have two options in life, selling drugs or going to a DeSantis rally. That is a nasty, sinister narrative I don't want a part of.
And you and I both know that Joe Biden has said some of the most racist things in history. And you know what? Nobody over at MSNBS, including Joyless Reed, says a darn thing about it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like he hasn't.
Hypocrites and hate-filled people. That's all they are over there. So
that's all right. They're hypocrites and they're hate-filled. Unlike over here, where they're, of course, filled with nougat.
What is ahead this weekend on Diamond?
Yeah, what's on Diamond and Silk? Enough about how racist the president is, probably because he's Catholic. But
it's so crystal clear.
Oh, we're going to be talking about Elon Musk. You know, we do talk about Joseph Robinette Biden, and we do have an itch of the week. Wow. So make sure.
An itch of the week?
You join us, Diamond and Silk Crystal Clear, on Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
Yeah, I would love to. But I got a thing. It's just, you got to understand. There's a lot to do around here. And I'm catching up on stuff. It's crazy.
Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, Eastern Standard Time. Maybe. Nope. Still busy.
Yeah, I hope you guys tackle that commission that Biden says through DHS that he wants to found. Now that free speech is returned to Twitter, the government wants to clamp down on free speech, which of course.
Why? How would they do that?
Is unconstitutional and illegal.
Well, then they can't do it.
Diamond and Silk from me to you. Mwah.
I'm trying, James. For some reason, the lens isn't working today. I beg your pardon. I don't know why. Something's funky. I think there has to be an update. Okay, I'm creeped out. I feel like I got some on me. It was gross. You're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide, by the way. I apologize for that last clip. It was wrong of me to show it to you. We learned nothing. We wasted some time. It was only marginally funny because it was kind of depressing. But at the same time, understand that everything they said was basically like them, like Salcedo peeing into a hurricane. It just blows back on them and it has no effect. Just leaves them mildly damp and annoyed, which I think describes them most of the time. That said, speaking of annoyed, hold on. This actually is... by the way, don't forget to like and subscribe, give a thumbs up. If you're a troll, I know we have some trolls in the chat room today. Yeah, there they are. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Try to keep your racial epithets and your anti-gay rhetoric and your misogyny to a minimum here. I know it's hard, but use your big boy words and big girl words and try to expand how you discuss your awfulness just so you don't get kicked out immediately. Because every time you type something, it tells the algorithm that I'm engaging and worth watching, and it spreads me out into the world. And it's one of the reasons why our growth keeps quickening. So I thank you. 32, where are we right now? 32.5. We only cleared like the 30,000 mark last week. Like every time we hit a new marker on YouTube, especially, it jumps forward faster. It's like it almost cuts the time in half to get to the next thing. Although I will say 30 sputtered around for a while and then dropped back down and then went back up. So yeah. Oh, what's Russell Brand up to? Well, I wasn't going to do that, but let's see if I can. Oh, he apparently he's hanging out at an old folks' home. I think he read something about, mind destroying venereal disease is often run rampant in old folks' homes, and he thought he'd fit right in. He's cloaked in a hoodie because it somehow makes him look down. And he's doing a show from the dining room. But it has to show the window in the background because the idea is nature. It's part of nature. And this is him reacting to the Trump-Morgan interview. Now, we've done this. I did the whole thing. Now, you'll notice a distinction besides the fact that I'm not talking out of my ass and trying to run interference for the worst people on the planet by softening the blow of society's attempt to distance themselves from the worst actors in the world. But what you'll also notice is that I did the whole thing. I did the Trump interview. I did 2 days of it, and we went through all of it. We didn't pick and choose little bits to make him look better or worse. We did the entire thing. This is 16 minutes long. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this dude, in reality, doesn't. I think he's going to pick and choose some shit that fits his narrative and puffs it up a little bit and maybe avoid some of the stuff that is embarrassing for Trump because it makes it better for his attacks on Biden. Does that make sense? I think so.
President anymore.
Hold on. This is the beginning of it. He needs a lead in, by the way. They do this little graphic thing, but anymore, the way the playing on YouTube starts is that there's a mild delay. So just starting right at the word is kind of stupid.
Donald Trump isn't president anymore. He might not even run for president again. So
but
why are we...
By the way, how dare I tell him he's got 5.6 million subscribers. Also, Donald Trump might not even run. He's not running. But the illusion that he is allows him to steal money from Republicans. So I'm fine with this narrative.
Donald Trump isn't president anymore. He might not even run for president again. So why are we still talking about him? And why is he still defining contemporary politics?
He's not. He's not defining contemporary politics. He's defining one party in this country because they choose to let him do so.
Hello there, you 5.6 million awake...
Well, 5.57. Simmer down.
Wonders, I'm so happy that you are with us on this voyage to truth together.
He's rounding up. I think that's unnecessary. Look, I'm 5'9". If I could round up to 5'9.5" by wearing tall shoes and just say I'm 5'9.5", I absolutely would. But if you're 6'3", you don't have to go, I'm 6'3.5". It's a dick move.
Let us cultivate the light within ourselves.
cultivate the light within yourselves. Oh, right, the little light that allows you to infer that the Ukrainians have it coming because there's 9 neo-Nazis in the country, and because of that, they've got to be raped and thrown into mass graves. Right, Russell?
Let's cultivate the connections between us. Let's see what can grow out of this movement.
Yeah, dude, I don't want anything you catch from Donald Trump to grow within me. My sense of humor is growing, though.
People become more bold about speaking freely.
Yeah, I don't have a problem there. Never did.
Open to new alliances.
Open to new alliances. Oh, this is a new alliance. You, Trump, Piers Morgan, a badger with gonorrhea.
Open.
All of you together, one big happy family. It's a sitcom waiting to happen.
To new conditions. If you want to come and see me live,
I don't want to come see you, and I don't want to do an ad for you either. So
directly, in case.
Nah.
About Donald Trump, of course, he recently did that interview with Piers Morgan. Do you think that ending bit was faked? Do you think it's like a media stunt? Did you hear that leaked bit of?
Like, by the way, this is him. They in the military they talk about stolen valor. In the world, there is what I would call stolen trauma, where something traumatic happens in the world and people put it on themselves. Like, oh, it's so exhausting even looking at it because they want to borrow some of the trauma for street cred. It's a little gross. And in this particular case, he's just taking all the little controversy questions and then just leading in saying those parts.
Audio where it sounds like they sort of ended convivially.
Convivially? Is that how it worked? I don't know. Are you going to show us the end, dipshit?
Importantly, though, than this one conversation, although that's a gifted interviewer and a very interesting and exciting orator.
Yeah, that's how I look at him. Can you tell he's never watched a rally?
Communion together.
Or if he's watched it, he's learned nothing.
Both of whom cause a great deal of...
Oh, look at this edit. Wait, what was that?
An exciting orator in communion together. Both of whom...
Look at that. What the fuck did you cut out? It's like, I love Trump and I love Piers Morgan. And if I could stick both of them, if you're going to fist yourself with your own ideas about these two people, you want to put your fingers like this to start. You don't start fisting right at the top. You got to ease your way into it. So as I'm stuffing Trump up my own ass, and then I take him out and I stuff Morgan up my own ass, that's okay. It's a little prostate tickle. But if you do like this, it's just it's too much too quick. Meanwhile, somebody in his staff went, cut that shit out, where he was like talking about how awesome it was, and then go straight to like controversy. Like they went, cut, say, you got to say that they're controversial. I've never seen somebody more guided in their fucking videos than this idiot is now. Once he hit the like 3 million mark, he's got a producing team now working on these things.
Interesting and exciting orator in communion together.
Mm-hmm.
Both of whom cause a great deal of controversy, but then so do I. Who's free from controversy in this world?
Yeah, controversy isn't the problem. Controversy is, you can have tactical controversies, you can have ethical and philosophical controversies. Most of us just think you're an asshole.
What I'm interested in is, what does Trump represent? How do we view Trump?
What are these edits?
What I'm interested in is, what does Trump represent? How do we view...
Jesus Christ. How many first of all, he's baked to the fucking bejesus belt if he's not snorting something before these things. Like, how many times you have to do this shit?
You, Trump...
You're an actor. You can't get through one chunk without an edit.
Now, do you want Trump to run again? Do you see America...
Yes.
America as a better place with Trump at the helm?
No. That's not why I want him to run again.
Do you think that Trump would handle the Ukrainian conflict differently?
Yes.
Or do you just enjoy Trump because he says mad stuff?
Mad stuff. That's what he says. He says mad stuff.
Differently. Or do you just enjoy Trump because he says mad stuff? Because that's where I land on all this.
He uses the N-word.
I'm sorry.
You think that Trump would handle...
So you just enjoy Trump because he says crazy shit. That's where he lands.
The Ukrainian conflict differently. Or do you just enjoy Trump because he says mad stuff? Because that's where I land on all this.
Okay, so he likes the fact that Trump just says mad stuff. Like, in Iraq, we should just take the oil. And I told Abdul that I showed him a picture of his house where his family lives. And if he didn't do what I wanted, I would bomb
his house where his children and his family are, or that we should torture the families of people who are captured as terrorists. Russell likes that stuff. He's a big fan.
He uses the N-word, the nuclear word, all the time.
What Trump's got is a gift for saying stuff that's a bit mad and interesting. He uses the N-word, the nuclear word, like he's playing oratory games.
No, he isn't. Somebody else said that, and he borrowed it. And then he's toying around in a grotesque way with a racial epithet.
He's playing rhetorical games right now. He's being interesting.
Yeah, that's what he is. He's being interesting. He's being fucking stupid.
The people that dislike Trump, I don't understand why they can't see what he does brilliantly.
Because I've seen all of his fucking rallies. I'm not seeing slices of shit given to me by my producer. And public manipulation is not brilliant. It's a talent and it's grotesque. But it's not a good in the world. It's not good when you fucking do it.
That's what's always confused me. But then I suppose I shouldn't be confused because I was one of those people. When he announced...
What was that again?
The people that dislike Trump, I don't understand why they can't see what he does brilliantly. That's what's always confused.
By the way, I don't think he does it brilliantly. I think there's a section of the public that is primed for this bullshit, and he takes advantage of it. He didn't invent emotional and psychological and political manipulation. He just does the paint by numbers version of it. He's dumb enough to swing for the fences in an area of, in Denver Stadium where every pitch is a slow pitch.
Excuse me. But then I suppose I shouldn't be confused because I was one of those people. When he announced the first time, I'm going to be president, I was like, no, you won't. You're mental, mate. No one's having you as president. But he was right about that because he was president.
That's a no-no. You're not supposed to do that. He uses it on a daily basis. And everybody's so afraid. And as they're afraid, he uses it more and more. That's why he's doing the kind of things he's doing. He's doing them because he thinks nobody's going to ever attack us because they're all stupid and they're afraid to talk about it.
I totally agree with you.
One of the things you have to say about Donald Trump is he understands primitive dynamics.
Oh, okay. Something that Russell, is an expert on.
I agree with you.
One of the things you have to say about Donald Trump is he understands primitive dynamics expertly, i.e. alpha posturing. Because basically...
What the fuck? Alpha posturing? He's an idiot. If he was actually in office and this was going on, he would be the one pushing us to nuclear war. And alpha posturing, the fucker's wearing a diaper, sitting forward looking like he's about to grab Piers Morgan by the tits.
What Donald Trump's saying is, this wouldn't be happening if I was president. I'd kick that geezer's head in. But how is...
No, he isn't. This wouldn't be happening because there wouldn't be a conflict. Kick that geezer's head in.
That's so effective.
Biden's saying, oh...
And by the way, it isn't. This kind of bullshit is exactly what got him kicked out of office as a one-termer. It isn't brilliant. As a matter of fact, these kind of statements are the kind of stuff where, like, legit Republicans are starting to get some legs under them where they're like, I don't fucking care if this asshole comes after me. Look at this stupid interview.
He's got nuclear weapons. He keeps saying he's got We have better weapons. We have the greatest submarine power in history.
So what would you say and do?
I would say we have far more than you do, far more powerful than you, and you can't use that word ever again.
Is it possible that geopolitics can be reduced to this?
No.
Like superpowers, or at least a former superpower and a current one, talking about the most significant conflict currently happening in a way that's sort of so identifiable and recognizable.
Yeah, it's identifiable. You mean rudimentary and fucking stupid? No. It's moronic. It's dangerous. You get into the time of like inbred simpleton kings, but then I guess this asshole's from a monarchy.
Well, is it really that simple? You go,
no, it's fucking well not.
Listen, you might have nuclear weapons, mate, but we got more nuclear weapons. You keep mouthing off, we'll do you. Like no different from school. All political life is still an expression of the palette of emotions that human beings experience.
Yeah, but it should include maturity beyond schoolyard dirt kicking, you dumb son of a bitch.
Like, what is late corporate capitalism?
Late corporate capitalism.
Greed. You know, like...
Yeah, it's just greed. It's greed.
It? Like, what is late corporate capitalism?
Okay, it's just greed. So greed's a dog. that exists in the world. And this motherfucker with his 5.5 million subscribers on Google the dog is a tick. This guy's entire empire, his livelihood, his growing influence campaign is all based on him living on this platform, on YouTube. Without it, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have a way to bring people to audience to his live shows, which in many of the cases, the venues he's going to are owned by Live Nation and other corporations. So this late stage capitalist greed dog that he sucks off of and pretends that he is somehow, detached from is so fucking gross and ironic.
Greed, like greed, fear, desire.
It's like your channel. Yeah, Russell. It's like late state capitalism is my show. It's like great that way. It's like I read a magazine that man buns are back in, and I was wrong, but I did it anyways because it makes me look kind of like slightly confused.
It's not going to be drawn from that palette. There aren't new emotions. There's not new phenomena. They're not feeling things from different.
There are when you're growing up as a mature adult. There's logic and reason that enters into your emotional response to stuff. And sometimes, and this might be a shock to you, Russell, those feelings override your need for a dopamine reflex from an emotional response that will be counterproductive and might get millions of people killed.
Dimensions when it comes to elite politics and
elite politics. Maybe the problem with elite politics is they're too elite. Maybe we need to perhaps we should just have them battle each other, David and Goliath style.
Corporate political pacts, are they? So perhaps what Donald Trump does is acts as a kind of cipher of simplification that we all sort of somehow appreciate.
Do we? We do? We all? We? Oh, you mean your audience? Your audience. Gotcha.
Because of the obfuscation and opacity of modern politicians.
You cannot use the nuclear word ever again.
Which is just one of the stupidest fucking things. We dealt with this when we did the whole thing. If you want to watch it, it's posted. I did both days.
And if you do, we're going to have problems.
We're going to have problems.
Trump is like a culture hack, a circuit jam. We're so used to the...
No, he isn't. If he was, this wouldn't be on Piers Morgan's knockoff Fox Nation show. He wasn't on 60 fucking Minutes.
Dissonance of what politicians say and then what they do. They say all of this stuff and then we know they've got them foundations and they're trading in Congress and they own stocks in this. And none of it.
Oh, so they say like they're going to be the greatest LGBT president ever, and then they deny transgender people the ability to serve in the military, or they say they're, no one respects women more than they do, but then they get caught on tape bragging that they can grab a woman by the vagina anytime they fucking want to because they're a star and they have to let you do it, and they throw a tic tac in because they're just assuming they're going to kiss the host that doesn't know they're coming out of the van to do this right on the mouth without her fucking permission, and that their buddy's going to set it up, that kind of thing.
It makes sense. So when this person comes along and just goes, yeah, well, we got better bums, everything seems to go like that. He pulls things madly into alignment.
No, he doesn't. People go, thank God this dipshit. It's like somebody being interviewed outside of a gas station.
It's a version of truth.
A version of truth. Honestly, dude, you might as well call that's the title of Russell's show now.
Like that, he pulls things madly into alignment. It's a version of truth.
Madly, a version of truth. The Russell Brand documentary.
We're so accustomed to the disparity, the disjunct between what they say and what they do.
No, we're not. Because, asshole, he's not going to nuke fucking Russia. That's not an option. And as an American, it's not an option I want on the fucking table. And that option is not going to change the behavior of Putin because he knows that's true.
That when someone sort of mashes that together, it's startling. And I think the people that dislike Trump don't...
Yeah, I feel seen.
Acknowledge that. You know, like, of course, I don't agree with Donald Trump on so many things. He's ultimately a billionaire capitalist.
Like what?
That said some really, really crazy, outlandish.
They're crazy. They're outlandish. I mean, the idea that he can sexually assault a woman and she just has to take it or whatever is crazy. I mean, it's outlandish. It's wild
stuff. But there are loads of...
Like what? Like what, Russell? What's he said? There are loads of things he said that you do like outside of that kind of stuff. What are they? Maybe stick a light bulb up your ass and pour bleach in your lungs and see what happens? Good way to fight off COVID?
Things in terms of his rhetoric, his ability to communicate.
His ability to have a neighbor's dog walk by?
His diagnosis.
If that dog takes a shit, it's going to be a sign from the universe.
Of contemporary American political life.
Diagnosis of American contemporary political life. He ran as an outsider, won by a squeaker, lost the popular vote, and then got trounced in the second election after being a blathering fuck for 4 years.
His clarity.
Clarity. Yeah, Russell didn't realize until he was president that you could just walk up and grab a woman by the vagina.
You have to say, well, this dude, what? Who are you bringing in as the alternative? And
Joe Biden. Elder statesman, gentleman, man who's been married to the same woman for a long time, had a kid die of a brain tumor, the other one fighting addiction, brought him back from the edge of that, has a loving relationship with him now, talks to his grandkids every fucking day, respects veterans, the elderly, people's religious rights. That. The guy who actually got an infrastructure bill passed. How about that?
And by the way...
Yeah, by the way, while I'm at it...
By the time we arrived at...
You should grab a woman by the pussy.
Trump, we'd been through that, you know, the spike of optimism of people like Tony Blair. Oh, this guy's good. He's young. He's going to be really good. Oh,
have we?
Shit. Oh, fuck. He's just done a war. Right, he's useless. Oh, but Obama, he's good. Oh no. Oh, shit. No, he's just done the same things.
He's just done the same things? ACA, 24 million people with insurance, moved us closer to a single-payer system. No? Salvage the economy from 2008 crash? No?
But Hillary Clinton, a woman one? Will that work? No, it doesn't make any difference.
It doesn't make any difference? Well, how do you know she didn't get to be president, fucko? Because people like you were like, I don't know, 6'1", half dozen of another. It doesn't really matter.
Like shuffling around the kind of demographic differences around age and race and gender.
Yeah, when it really doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? They're all the same.
It doesn't mean anything in that sphere.
Yeah, it does.
People focus too much on Trump rather...
I beg your pardon? Hold on.
Doesn't mean anything in that sphere. People focus...
These fucking edits, man.
There's too much on Trump.
It's like 2013 YouTube.
Rather than the causes of Trump. What facilitated Trump's rise?
Twitter, Facebook, a Russian push to boost him over other candidates that basically allowed him to trounce the field on the Republican side. And then he lost the popular vote by 3 million votes. But strategic losses in 3 states gave him the Electoral College because 75,000 people, like the American equivalent of this fuckhead, decided to take their ball and go home.
A total lack of trust in political figures.
Obviously not a total lack of trust in political figures, or Hillary Clinton wouldn't have won the popular vote by 3 million votes.
A political landscape that was devoid of integrity.
Yes, and that's what he came in, like a knight in shitty armor, a shining beacon of integrity.
No political party that was representative of ordinary people, and because none of those things are going to be...
What? Define ordinary people, Russell. I would love to hear your definition.
...addressed because of entrenched establishment corruption...
No, the illusion of entrenched establishment corruption.
In all parties, it's easier...
In all parties. Yeah, because it's all the same. You know what I mean?
To just go...
Because, I mean, the Democrats would have come in and scuttled Roe and pretended they were going to get an infrastructure bill passed and just didn't fuck around and gave a giant tax break to corporations and the richest among us. And I mean, it's basically what the Dems do every time they're in, try to destroy the ACA. That's thing. They sunsetting Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. That's something the Democrats would do. It's basically the fucking same.
I don't like Trump.
And P.S. Fuck you, dude. You don't even vote in our system. There's one touch on Tony Blair. He might be guy did a war. Fuck him.
Sexist or whatever you want to say, Trump. But he actually
whatever.
Isn't meaningfully worse than...
The fuck he isn't. The casualty rate from collateral damage during of civilian deaths from American drone strikes and airstrikes and missile firings went up 80% in the first year of Trump. And there were more civilians killed by American collateral damage from drone strikes specifically during Trump's first year in office when he rescinded the rules of engagement, the ROE, than in all 8 years of Obama. You know who would think there is a material difference? Those people.
Than any of the people that you're presenting as an alternative, and he is
well, clearly they are, because Biden kicked his ass.
Observably better at doing the things that are important.
He's wait. He's what?
Alternative, and he is observably better at doing the things that are important.
Like what? Improving the infrastructure, making sure people have health care? The fuck are you talking about? Name, and this asshole, please, after this sentence, I have not pre-watched this. You guys know I don't. What the fuck? Say one thing. He's observably better. Listen to this shit.
Alternative, and he is observably better at doing the things that are important.
Observably better at doing the things that are important. Such as?
i.e. being on the television.
Oof. Being on the television.
Observably better at doing the things that are important, i.e. being on the television, connecting with ordinary people.
That's not the job of the fucking president. What? Being on the television and what the fuck? Do you think you're president? Jesus Christ. That's not the job of the fucking president. Being on the tele and connecting to ordinary people. By what? Saying they should shove a light bulb up their ass, take hydroxychloroquine and drink bleach? Get the fuck.
There's your Trump phenomenon.
There's your Trump phenomenon. Or Russell, it could be that there's something about Trump that really appeals to gullible fucks with daddy issues.
When you were talking to Putin, when you were president, and he was talking about potentially invading Ukraine, that you threatened him with your nuclear capability.
I threatened him like he has never been threatened before.
I threatened him like he's never been threatened before.
Yeah, he's great at all the things that are meaningful.
Trump's certainty is appealing, isn't it?
No, it isn't. It's fucking ridiculous. It might be appealing if what you're cheerleading is the destruction of the United States because A, you have no stake in it, and the actual effects of something on that scale would cause tens of millions of people to fucking die. But if you don't give a shit about that, I mean, it's kind of cute, isn't it?
I don't know what threats, like Putin, he was in the KGB, he must have had some crazy shit in his life.
You threatened to use nuclear weapons?
I don't want to say that. I threatened him like he has never been threatened before.
Who speaks like that? Like Churchill? Like who says stuff like I threatened him like he's never been threatened before?
Trump, all the fucking time. It's the only phrase he has. It's one of the things that bores the fuck out of people at his rallies.
Essentially, he's appealing to something that there is a need for.
No, he is not. Or he would have won the fucking election.
There is a need for.
No, there isn't. There's simply, if there was, this interview would have been on 60 fucking minutes. He would be an undeniable force in politics instead of something that the Republicans are half ashamed of and half afraid of.
Look at how complex your own life is. Look how much uncertainty there is from the decisions you make about what you eat to how you conduct yourself in a relationship to the ongoing doubts about evolving social lexicons to your uncertainty about political figures. The fact that no one in the political landscape is presenting you with a new vision saying,
yeah, asshole, I got news for you. I don't want a new vision. I like a constitutional democracy. I'm glad we have that system.
I just want somebody who will competently run it during my lifetime and improve on the systems that we have as best they can while I get on with doing what the fuck I want to do. I don't need a goddamn revolution every 4 fucking years. It's fucking tiresome. And every one of these assholes, like, we need a whole new fucking system. Then build one, asshole. Buy an island. Who cares? Start a pineapple farm, you Jim Jones fuck.
This is how we could organise society. This is how we're going to run.
Then do it. This is how we're going to run it. We'll start with worker co-ops, and then we'll then do it. Nothing's stopping you. Meanwhile, this fucker is a tick on the Google dog.
I know what I'm doing.
Nobody can say that because it's not fucking true. We're not looking for messiahs, dumbass. And by the way, that is anti-democratic. That is monarchical, theocratic, dictatorial, and authoritarian. I have no interest in any of that shit. I'm a fucking American.
Don't be frightened. No one's talking like that.
Because it's dumb. Okay, no system. We're going to don't worry about it. We're going to restructure all the workings of society, how we conduct government, how businesses are done, and I'm going to run it for you. Don't be afraid. Yeah, anybody who says that, Jesus Christ, run screaming.
So Donald Trump at least is ticking one significant box. There's an archetypal charge.
Yes, to cults. We know why cults exist. Some are bigger than others. Some Young Moon did it. David Koresh did it. Jim Jones did it. Fucking David Duke did it amongst a certain group of people. I don't care. Anybody who wants to oversimplify life for you is going to fuck you eventually.
So somebody goes, I threatened him like he's never been threatened before. You can go to bed and relax now. Oh, thank you. I'll see you in the morning. I'll get in as well. I'm just going to put my hairnet on.
I think potentially, look, you know, if these people aren't smart, and they're not.
It's the first time he's seeing it, too.
If these people aren't smart, and they're not. What we're watching here is two people that really understand media.
He's not understanding media. Do you know the story before this interview? This dude doesn't even understand media. Because you gotta understand, like, I've been on, you know, my fair share of cable shows and a couple of very important movies. I mean, I wasn't in Forgetting Sarah Marshall or whatever the fuck. And I have yet to be in a Kenneth Branagh film, but it's still in the cards. I just plan on doing it when I'm a lot older and he's ancient and it's his last directing gig and he's drooling all over himself. I got time. But in the process of this guy peaked in 2012 in a lot of ways. And he took that peak, which was high in another kingdom, and now he's topped in a lower kingdom in a way that's impressive if you don't come in with all the pre-known baggage beforehand. If he was a nobody and he'd gotten to this 5.5, people go, holy fucking shit, right? But he's trying to pull a Rogan. He's just borrowing this system.
Collaborators in creating spectacle. Piers Morgan understands media like few people on the planet.
Yeah, that's why he lost his job and now has a sideline video series called Piers Morgan Uncensored on Fox Nation and subsidiary websites on Rupert Murdoch properties. I got news for you, fucko. None of it has any more reach than I have right here. The only reason it gets other places when you're on those websites is because they drive traffic to it on purpose. But it's not above anything else. When you're on cable, when you're actually on broadcast television or any of these other, you have access to an automatic audience of size. And then you can expand it online through other sources. If Piers Morgan was a genius about this, he wouldn't be below Dan Rather. And Dan Rather was fired for all the wrong reasons.
Donald Trump understands media like few people on the planet.
Oh, yeah? Then why didn't he win the last election? Why did he make an ass out of himself for 7 fucking months straight during COVID? He could have kept off the airwaves, talked rarely and to the point, and he would have sailed through that fucking election. I got news for you. That election was Trump's to lose. Even in COVID, He didn't even have to be good at it. If he'd have just followed what the people around him, and he couldn't because he'd be a totally different person.
Here they are together, engaged in this wonderful piece of theatre.
It's two assholes sitting across from each other like somebody stole their chessboard.
Talking about like nuclear wars and stuff like that. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. It's mad, and it's in the toilet end of the fucking internet. And by the way, thank you, Bonnie and Jolie and Vincent and Aaron and Krampus for the super chats. You guys are awesome. Thanks, Popple, for resubscribing on Prime. We're getting close. Look at that. Look at that little sliver right there. See that little sliver on the screen? Like right there. Look at that. We're getting close. And then, of course, I will increase it. But still, you have to. I gotta. Otherwise, I'm not going to grow. This asshole has fucking 5.5 million subscribers. You can't just go ahead and click subscribe. I mean, come on.
Because in a sense,
a guy who has 27 credible sexual assault charges against him, used to dance with Jeffrey Epstein, once whispered something in Jeffrey Epstein's ear that made Jeffrey Epstein blush, has a certain...
Right. Like, we're talking about aesthetics anyway. Like,
yeah, that's all we're talking about, aesthetics. Fucking hell.
Are all the people that are doing all the, flags, like, are they really any more integrally connected to the reality of people in Ukraine?
Yes. Yes. They have empathy. The fuck are you talking about? You think Trump gives a rat fuck?
Bombed and desperate and baffled. Not really. Just like it's the pose, the aesthetic.
Oh, this isn't projection or anything. Here you go. This is, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Russell Brand defining himself for your viewing pleasure. By the way, you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Oops, wrong button.
The dance is based on sort of sympathy and apparent sophisticated, nuanced compassion. Whereas this dude, and Piers there, is much more, yeah, come on, let's have it. And the fact is that sort of professional class piety that's not rooted in the kind of compassion that warrants, requires, demands, in fact, sacrifice, is just artificially different, aesthetically different, not meaningfully different.
Our leaders are not.
Wait a minute. So the idea is that because other people actually care, and they're saying they care, anybody who says they care about what's happening in Ukraine, Trump's like, fuck it, let's fight. Who doesn't give a rat fuck? It's basically the same thing. And you know why? Because Russell Brand thinks that everyone who watches his show, or any show, I guess, for that matter, is a fucking moron. Easily led by the nose, except you, darling. You and I, you, our group, us. We know better than anyone, right? We're trying to find it together on this mission together, We know these fucking things, We're trying, but other people are dim. They're fucking dim, man. And this guy's got their number. It's amazing. It's kind of great to watch.
Not smart. If they're not smart, you can end up in a nuclear war.
Trump cannot become irrelevant unless you make Trump irrelevant.
Yeah, that's what I do by mocking him. One of the ways you keep him from becoming irrelevant is praising his relevance when he does not deserve said praise.
You cannot nullify Trump and Trump's rhetoric unless you have political parties and political leaders that behave with absolute integrity.
Bullshit. Where's this one true Scotsman purity test bullshit? Unless everyone's got integrity, no one's got integrity. And how dare you even say, just because you would, like you borrow a pen and you realize you forgot to put it in the tin, you just put it in your car and you forgot all about it. It's basically the same as rape and murder. Go fuck yourself.
And authenticity that are willing.
Says the fake son of a bitch.
To say, for example, not have pundits on CNN that are former military advisors.
Why? When you're talking about war, when you're talking about like the materials used in war, strategies used in war, you might think they might be experts on what's being discussed. You put them there in that context, and they are introduced as such. You don't hide that that's what they do. Like, this is John from Ohio, And then like you find out later he worked for the CIA for 3 years. Like, this is John from Ohio. He lives there now, but he worked for 3 years in planning for the CIA and, you know, military intelligence. And yet, like, they tell you, and you can make up your mind. When somebody like that is on the news and they introduce this person as a person who works in the Pentagon, as somebody who's a military contractor, as somebody who was a former CIA person, you have the ability, and this might be shocking to Russell, who thinks down about everybody in his audience. By the way, if you watch Russell's show and we get occasional trolls who like his show or pretend to like his show, more honestly, to boost it. When you get in here, Russell thinks you're a fucking moron. He has no respect for you whatsoever. He thinks you're a gullible fuck amongst a bunch of other gullible fucks. And the only thing that differentiates you from other gullible fucks is that he can make money off of you.
That currently work for Lockheed Martin.
Yes, who are announced as somebody who works for Lockheed Martin. And if you watch it, you can go, that guy works for Lockheed Martin. I'm going to take what he says with a grain of salt because he works for Lockheed Martin, like an adult.
As long as you know that there are Congress people that have investments in Raytheon and firms that make weapons, as long as you know that the media secretly enjoy wars because it improves rate.
Oh, do they secretly enjoy it? They secretly, think about what that means. I mean, I've heard this bullshit bandied about. And I know some people look at war as a purity test in some cases. They look at it as an extension of ethics by a country. And so they see it through that prism. But that's not what he's talking about. He's not talking about like Brian Williams, being excited when he sees some of this stuff, which is based on the idea that Brian Williams sees military action by the United States as an extension of the good that America does. It's just the necessary evil version of it. That's not what he's talking about. Listen to how Russell describes this, and then understand that he's talking about human beings. And this is the same fucker who's saying that we're all working through it as flawed as we are, trying to figure out a way to find the light and blah, blah, blah. Remember his big spiel about who humanity is. And then listen to how he describes people in the media and their feelings about war genuinely, like mass graves, rape squads, starvation, bombings, real stuff. Sending, by the way, their reporters into harm's way, many of whom have been killed in this conflict. And this is Russell's opinion about how they morally react to it, ethically react to it, and feel about it.
That make weapons, as long as you know that the media secretly enjoy wars because it improves ratings.
They secretly enjoy, so amongst themselves, they're like, a toast to Putin. Right, Charlie? Like, just think about what that engages in. Like that, or think about what the emotional content that you'd have to engage in to believe that. 1,000 people in the chat. Look at that. If you feel like doing a $10 super chat, now's the time. We've got 1,000 people in the chat. It's really cool. Share the show, by the way. Let other people know we're here. It always helps. I appreciate it. It's a wonderful thing. Okay. 1,000 plus, I know, but we hit the 1,000 mark. There we go. Woohoo. Is that 1,000 likes? Is that where we got? Nice. Gotcha. Okay, it's the likes. Oh, 1,000 subs? What happened? Oh, I didn't even see that. What in the world? That's not where. That hasn't shown up on my end yet. What the what? Oh, down here. Oh gosh, I was too busy doing my show. Yeah! Hold on. Fuck you. I don't want him on the screen when that happens. Hooray! 1,003. I thought you guys, because we usually hit 1,000 in the chat, and I'm watching this right over here, watching while I do the clip, and I'm watching the chat, and it was going 1,000, 1,000. People weren't saying what, so I was like, I thought, look at that. Hey, all right. That's I don't even. You guys celebrate good times. Come on. Yahoo! Thank you guys so much. That's amazing. Single tear, you complete me. That's amazing. Let's keep going. Because I have to, after the show's done today, and we're almost done, I have to raise it to, what do you think I should set it on, 5? I've got that many followers, just don't have people, subscribing, and that's how we get to it. I think that's too much. 2,500, should that be the next goal? 2,000? I think 2,500. Let's get a little dicey. I think we can do it. I think we can. I think we can get there. 1025. All right. Thanks for shooting low, Akira. Just tiptoe. Maybe by the end of the show we could hit 1025. That would be awesome. But thank you guys so much. That's fantastic. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe on there. And if you're on Facebook, you can become a member. There's all kinds of stuff you can do on there, and I really appreciate it. Whatever you can do, do. Whatever you can't, don't worry about it. If you can follow, if you can like, if you can give a thumbs up and it doesn't cost you anything and you're cool with that, that's all I've ever wanted is people to, support the show if they can, and it's comfortable for them. It's no skin off their nose. If you want to become a Patreon, please do. But if it would stress you out at all, do it. There are plenty of people out there that have the means, wherewithal, and comfort to be able to do something like that. Let them do that. And then hopefully one day you'll be in a position and you can go, well, I couldn't become a patron, but I can come see a live show. Whatever. That's all that matters to me. That's beautiful. Oh, yippee. Thank you, D Wichita, for the super chat. Thank you, Georgina, as well. And thank you. Whoops, this scrolled down. Where'd this go? Pam J, thank you. Emergency Remedial Truth, thank you as well. That's great. Look at that. 1,004. This is so exciting. I really didn't expect that. That's shocking. Yeah. $10 for 1K Twitch to the next 2,500. Excellent, Louise. Okay, that'll be the standard, I think. Thank you so much. You guys, this is great. I'm like blushing. All right, I have to finish this video or I'll feel bad. Like I'm not doing my show. Can't get too overwhelmed, with your paycheck to do your job. So, and I appreciate this. This means a lot and it makes a huge difference. Those subscriptions, especially if you have Amazon Prime, doesn't cost you a dime. And by the way, I'm not pretending that this is currently my job because COVID eliminated most live shows and tons of production. And somebody like me, who's what I would call a blue collar actor and has been for a long time, making most of my living on cable, you got to make the donuts. You got to actually be productive in this world, bring some entertainment to people and do your best. And this is what I created to do that very thing because I got to have insurance and feed my kid and all that kind of stuff. And I appreciate you guys for giving me the opportunity to do it on top of just allowing me into your eyeballs and your ear holes to tell you this stuff. So it means a lot. Thank you guys so much. It's crazy. So sweet. Okay, here we go. Now I can't think about it. Now I got to go back to this asshole. I was all cheery. And look at this creep. Fuck. All right. Crack. Here we go. Speaking of crack, go ahead, dummy.
As long as all those things are...
Oh, Templeton, check your Venmo, she says. Oops, hold on. Will do. Oh, Bree, thank you so much. 1 second. Let's see. I don't think it hasn't come through on my thing yet. I think I'm on Do Not Disturb. So, oh my gosh, Laura, thank you so much. And Alexito, thank you so much for the Venmos. That's really awesome. Bless you. I appreciate it. Whatever support works, that's great. By the way, if you want to use Venmo, that's the thing. Just take a picture of it with your phone, and then you can, send me a coffee. Just go here. Here's enough. Go get a mango dragon fruit refresher. Venti, that's what I get. So it's true. And whatever the cost of that is. And then you go, if I've cheered you up, if I've blessed you with anything, set a small number to that and then fire away. Okay. Anyways, back to this asshole who pretends he's not using his viewers for money.
Are true, as long as there's a great deal of complexity about Biden and Biden's family's relationships in big business.
Fuck you.
Some of which are, Ukrainian, some of which
bullshit.
Chinese. As long
bullshit.
All these questions.
Bullshit. Honestly, bullshit. I call bullshit. First of all, there is no Hunter Biden laptop. I'm tired of hearing this thing and anything that's associated that says, "Oh, it's criminal." If you read the email through this lens, this fucker's just like skimming articles and going, "Oh, I don't like him. Oh, but Trump's kind of brilliant."
Questions are out there. You are going to require the simplicity, the vivacity.
Why again? Has anybody noticed he keeps? This is different. Watch him look to his left.
All these questions are out there. You are going to require the simplicity, the vivacity, the bombast of a figure like Trump.
It's like it's getting very Don Jr. This is different. He's reading these little pieces. They're editing them. So they're saying, oh, like that sounds very, you have to use certain language to get people attached. So these are the words that are in the list. And we did a hashtag, we did a roundup of the words that are the most engaging, and we'll put them over here. And you say them, you say bombast and intriguing and real life and all these kind of things. And he's sort of a down home kind of a guy, like that kind of shit. All these words that Trumpers like to hear used around Trump. There was a list of them. And if you use all of them, they know you're on the team like Q, and we'll just make them over here. And you just add them when they fit. And if you think you can go back and do it again, we'll edit. That's what this is.
Trump, who at least
look, he did it again.
Provides something real. Even if it's just a better type of illusion.
And by the way, I don't think that's him looking at the screen where Trump is, because that's below him on his laptop. Because when he was watching and he was like, what the fuck? He's looking right there, because that's the laptop he's watching the interview
Obviously uncertain about their effectiveness. And my personal opinion, he was president for a while. The world didn't really change in any way that was sort of significant.
That's because you're British and you're not affected by our taxes, our lack of infrastructure, the damage to the ACA, the shortening of the life of a lot of programs that benefit people. And the element of the fact that we have decentralized power, that the administration can only do so much, so it can only fuck up so hard. Laura, thank you so much. Bless you for that.
So both sides should take that on board.
On board.
Like if you really, really hate Trump, well, what changed? If you really, really like...
What changed? Well, maybe one of the questions is, what didn't he do that he said he was going to do, like get us out of Afghanistan? Stop the war in Afghanistan? Stop it. Stop being there. He said he ran on it, and he didn't. How about Infrastructure Week? It was fucking Infrastructure Week the whole fucking time. We had bridges collapse, literally because there was no policy. The people on those bridges might be largely concerned that in the last 4 years, this asshole who said he was going to fix that shit, airports and all those kind of things, did fuck all to do it, and decided to undermine the tax base that would be used to do it by giving a tax cut to corporations and rich people. Beyond the broken promises, there's a bunch of shit that needs to be done that he didn't give a fuck about doing. But you're right, he did. I mean, who really cares deeply about the people in Puerto Rico who were in the back of the room and couldn't get to paper towels? At least he was there to throw paper towels at them.
Like Trump, what changed?
Well, what changed when Biden got in? The American Rescue Package had environmental concerns answered. The infrastructure bill will lead to all lead pipes in the fucking country being fixed. Do you understand how meaningful that alone is to the health of the people in this country? To children? The fact that Flint, Michigan happened at all doesn't ever have to happen again? You don't think that has fucking meaning? But that didn't change while Trump was in office. But it sure as fuck did within less than 9 months of Biden getting in.
What is true, though, is that the problem of Trump remains the same problem. It isn't Trump at all. It's the context. It's an establishment that has no political...
Look at this fucker. I mean, I'm beginning to think they're scripting this for a certain viewer. They're recognizing that 3 million of their growth has come from kind of the Roganing of his crowd, which is, largely the incel right-wing maggot crowd, are looking for more fare to watch because they watched Rogan today. They watched the whole thing, and now they need something else that fits in line with that. And you want your shit to show up in the people who watch Joe Rogan also watch this. Because there's a direct linkage to making money and growing your subscribers in that. I'm not going to fucking do it. I'm not going to change what I say and drift my message towards a more profitable one against my own ethics. But this motherfucker is. We've watched it happen.
Or integrity, that has no political teleology, that has no vision, has no meaning, because essentially his diagnosis is correct.
No, it isn't. Or he would have won the fucking election. Biden didn't do any rallies. He had small press conferences because there was a fucking pandemic going on. He showed caution. He showed maturity in that he didn't go out for these big ego fests in the middle of a contagion. That worked. That won. Hands fucking down.
They're corrupt. They're only in it for the money.
Yeah, and certainly not traits that attach to Trump.
No one's got any authentic care for ordinary people. And
yeah, not like Trump.
As long as those things remain true, then Trump will remain a viable alternative.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm totally diagnosing things. That's why when Biden did the infrastructure bill and tried to get Build Back Better through, I was like, well, he doesn't have the votes to get it, so probably scrap it.
This is just the beginning. This is the beginning. And I've been the best predictor of things ever. Now,
where does that claim come from Donald Trump?
Probably someplace real. Something that, Biden and other establishment people can't even comprehend, I guess, right?
Yeah, I'm the best predictor of things.
Ego, narcissism, brain damage, Pervitin, Adderall and stimulants, benzodiazepines.
Ever. Well, here's a chart, is there, of the predictors of things that have been in the past.
All right, a rudimentary joke based on this that does no damage to Trump.
Nostradamus there, like machines that predict outcomes, data optics for athlete performances, all these different meteorological systems, predictors of things. Up there at the top, Donald Trump. How long does this list go back? That covers always.
I can...
Again, a joke at Trump's expense that does no damage to him. Doesn't cut into what he does at all. As a matter of fact, it's kind of congratulatory.
Fronted Kim Jong-un.
It just sounds so...
See? Okay, so he's watching the video here, and the script is over here.
Cool. Like people saying that's sort of what you feel like a president should be. It's a child's drawing of a president come to life.
He said, I have a red button on my desk, meaning a nuclear button. I said, I have a red button on my desk too.
And by the way, he said this story dozens of times, and it didn't keep him in office. So the idea that him telling it to Piers Morgan for the fucking 35th fucking time, either at rallies or in interviews, over the last 5 goddamn years, or maybe 100 times for that matter, because it wasn't up until lockdown that I was actually watching all of these things all the way through. Him saying this, if this asshole's like, see, it's just brilliant.
But it's bigger and stronger than yours, and mine works.
This is the first time he's heard it.
I've got not to see that as sort of phallic male posturing. Is there an actual red button? Like the size of...
See, again, this is like, this is a dick swinging contest. And is there a red button on the desk? These are all harmless jokes that do not diminish Trump at all. As a matter of fact, they're braggart jokes. It's kind of impressive how bold and brash and ballsy he is. I like it.
Doesn't really matter. Look at this, bloody hell. Boom! It's more what the button...
What a waste of fucking time.
Ultimately does when you press it. It could be like a mouse's button that you could do with your little finger, as long as it creates a nuclear explosion. That is not a euphemism.
A mouse's button?
Well, it's so amazing. And again, observe the simplicity.
Yes, the idiocy. The moronic level of discourse. That worked once and failed after people got to know who he was. This kind of shit got him elected. He talks the exact same fucking way. But when he did that, he was a relative unknown during the political process. And there was always the thought that an outsider might do this. So he got the outsider bump on top of being the illusion of being successful financially, being a corporate hack that had dodged taxes, that had gotten around the tax code forever, that had, fucked around and all this kind of stuff on his wife and everything. And there was a good the offshoot of the evangelical right-wing Christians that found that salacious and exciting. It didn't last. It isn't impressive the second time. It's cute early, you know, when somebody's like kind of like into themselves, but after they've been sleeping on your couch for about 10 months and they clog the fucking toilet, eat everything in the fridge, and then don't pay the light bill, it gets a little fucking tired.
Observe the effectiveness: bigger, stronger, bigger dick, harder, bigger fist, more willing to have a fight. But like elsewhere in the conversation, before you condemn Trump, oh, what an idiot, like, well, what are they saying elsewhere? Deliberately
Yeah, what's the difference between them saying, "Oh, fucking kill him. I'll kill anybody. We should steal the oil. We should kill the children of terrorists because that'll let them know we mean business."
We did this with NATO. We have these interests. We inspired that coup. Some guy coming out saying, "I've got a big red button on my desk." Oh, my hell, that sounds like a simple solution.
Yes, and the kind of person who would do that kind of shit would actually act that way once they were in power, and he did, and it resulted in more civilian deaths in 1 year than in the previous 8. Let me say that again. There were more civilian deaths from drone strikes from the U.S. military in the first year of Trump than in the previous 8, than all of the Obama years put together. And he had no inch, and that kept going, by the way. That was true every year. So it does fucking matter in material form. And kind of pissing that away. Like, I joke about Trump because he is a joke and he's no longer in power. But this motherfucker is trying to tee him up like, well, is it so bad? I mean, could you really? He's trying to soften the re-entry for Trump into the political sphere again. This is a measured and manipulative endeavor that he's doing.
Stuff that would happen if there was a war on Sesame Street.
Strongly against mandates, but I'm very proud of what we did. I saved worldwide tens of millions of lives.
It's another amazing claim, isn't it? Again, it's interesting because a lot of people on both sides want Trump to be a kind of overt anti-vaxxer, but he ain't an anti-vaxxer because an important part of his legacy was the creation of the vaccines. And
he didn't create the vaccines. He followed the pandemic response team's manual that they left behind after he fired them. The CDC did this, and the Congress ordered the money to pre-buy the fucking vaccines. His own people are the ones who held out.
You just heard him say in his incomparable style, he saved tens of millions of lives.
Yeah, it's almost like he's having a hard time with this, like swallowing this turd.
Now, I know a lot of like anti-establishment people are anti-vaccine or at least anti-mandate.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's weird. And those seem to be people that he speaks directly to. And those people were dying hand over fist over the last 8 months.
So that's enough.
They're the majority of the deaths in the since the vaccine was released. That they are the majority of the deaths from it.
Another interesting part of the Trump narrative. My opinion is, before overtly...
Oh, they had to edit whatever's part of his opinion. He didn't say his opinion very well.
Part of the Trump narrative. My opinion is, before...
My opinion is, what was my opinion again? What's my opinion? Let me read through my opinion again. What's the opinion they faxed it to us? Love, can you put it up over here? Thanks. Yeah, what's my opinion? Okay, let's go back to it. My opinion is, cut there. Right.
Overtly condemning Trump. Get your own house in order.
Fuck you. That's your opinion?
My opinion is, before overtly condemning Trump, get your own house in order.
We did. We kicked him out after January 6th especially, impeached him for it, and elected Joe Biden last November, or 2 Novembers ago. Because we were sick of that kind of bullshit. And in the process, got a rescue package put through, an infrastructure bill passed through, reverted back to the rules of engagement of the Obama administration, started working our way out of Yemen, working our way out of the tangle with the Saudis, removing ourselves from support for them almost entirely to the point where they're fucking pissed now. And we got out of Afghanistan. We are getting our house in order. That's exactly what we're doing. And what you're saying is, don't get your house in order. He was fine. I mean, what's the difference?
I haven't mentioned...
Thank you, by the way, Gorilla in the Mist and Fluffy Cat and DC2257, bless you. And Environmental Coffee House. Hey, guys. It's subathon time. All right.
That's it.
No, yeah. Last question 4 times. No, I realize that. I realize that I'm not like.
Very dishonest.
I just haven't asked.
He's very dishonest.
You're very dishonest. This was a 20-minute interview.
Sorry.
Listen, this was a 20-minute
interview.
interview.
Don't you think?
I think it's fine. It's fine.
What that is an interview between two sort of masters of the medium. So
Fuck off. Masters of the medium. The masters of the medium that are so good at it, they're sitting in 2 chairs in the middle of a scuffed up fucking floor at Bedminster with Trump's balls are on his own crown. Trump is literally in this shot teabagging himself. I mean, that's the kind of thing, they must have set this shot up and reshot it 10 times to get that. For fuck's sake. Look at that. Trump's balls are on his own head. Please, that's masterful. The fuck out of here. I'm just saying a master of that kind. Like, I wouldn't consider myself a master. I'm pretty darn good at it. I didn't even spot that we hit 1,000 subscribers in this regard. Please keep subscribing, by the way, on Twitch, twitch.tv/HalSparks. You know, I didn't even notice that thing had hit 1,000, and I was like looking at my chat, and I was like, oh my God. But at no point did I accidentally put a picture behind my head of me teabagging my own self. How can you teabag yourself? Asking for a friend? Well, you have to stretch first. You're smart at light speed, Sal. Thank you, Lolima. I'm just saying, this fucker, he's a master. He's got 2 masters. This guy is sitting there with no table to put his cards on, so they're in his fucking lap like a dipshit. Trump is like leaning forward like his diaper's full, and in a way that his shit posture and his weird way of sitting literally puts his balls on his own head. Fuck me.
What that is an interview between 2 sort of masters of the medium. So whatever you think of the medium, these are people that know how to operate within it.
Dude. The only way that this could be sweeter is if that dog that walked by just took a shit right there, like backed his head up and just started squeezing out one right on to where his head would be. Because that's the masters. Get the fuck out of here.
Expertly. And the reason we have a requirement for them is because elsewhere there is so much opacity and undue complexity.
They're not necessary. This was all fuffery. Nobody gave a fuck. I made fun of it because he's mockable. And one of the ways you keep assholes like that from gaining ground is you make sure they become the butt of the joke and stay there. Because when they have the levers of power, they are fucking dangerous. So I'm not going to take Trump seriously. And anybody who does take him seriously, I'm not going to take them seriously. You're a fucking moron. The guy who does 3-card Monty on the train is not brilliant. You're gullible for losing rent on that.
That's usually connected to disingenuity rather than, oh, look, the world's complicated. Of course, the world's bloody complicated. Of course, truth is complicated.
But these guys pretend it isn't, and it's so refreshing. It's like a sitcom, only they really kill people.
I feel that many political figures and media operators enhance and amplify the complexity, not in order to give you a better depiction of reality, but to obscure reality altogether. And one thing...
Yeah, and he just cuts right through it. You know, the nice thing about, you know, you got a complex news story people are talking about. It's like if you were doing Don't Look Up and everybody's discussing, is the asteroid going to hit the Earth? Should we do anything about it? Can we leave the planet? Is there anything we could do? And then a dog just came in and took a shit in the middle of the studio. Everybody'd be eyes on it because that's so natural and it's just happening and it's so real right there in the moment.
Donald Trump seems to do is pierce that with a
Morgan
kind of rhetorical brutality and bombast that's appealing.
Bombast, he's bitching.
In a landscape that's otherwise just feels like some nitpicky stew of bureaucratic claptrap.
Oh, you mean like Piers Morgan?
Congratulations on the Holy One.
All right, thank you very much.
And thank you for a great interview.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go.
That was a great interview.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Turn the camera off.
I often think when people condemn Donald Trump, Where is your platform to condemn him from?
Yeah, I mean, what are you being interviewed by Piers Morgan? How dare you? You plebe. I mean, he's basically royalty. How dare you? What? I mean, who among us hasn't sexually assaulted at least 27 women and possibly a child? Who among us hasn't partied with Jeffrey Epstein? Who among us hasn't been sued by the Justice Department for denying black people rent in their buildings? Who among us hasn't walked through an accounting firm when they're deciding to work with them and saying there are too many black faces here, like the guys with the small hats counting my money? Who among us hasn't done similar things like that? Who among us hasn't said, I'll give you my tax plan and my healthcare plan in 2 weeks and hasn't shown up with it? Who among us? Get the fuck out of here.
Because it seems to me sometimes that Donald Trump is simply better at doing what they all do. They all strip away complexity, but they don't do it with so much easy charm and apparent wit.
Apparent wit?
None of them are offering nutrition, a real vision.
Yeah, no. You can't eat an infrastructure bill. And you can't eat an Afghanistan exit. You can't eat a rescue pack. Well, you can. It provides food for lots of people. You can drink the water now, though.
Of a better world, genuine solutions.
Like removing lead pipes from the country, creating rural broadband, connecting a smart grid across the entire fucking country so that we can use renewables across the country in areas that don't have a lot of wind or don't have a lot of geothermal or don't have a lot of sunlight year round, that would allow them to power their buildings and stuff so they can, buy and sell from an exchange that's renewables as opposed to relying on coal or nuclear or any of these things across the, those kind of things. Oh, you mean all the shit that Biden's actually been doing?
To the problems that affect your life. Oh,
you mean like Flint?
Willingness to confront the complexity and apparent opposition of the polarity of progressivism versus traditionalism.
Is that what the polarity is? That's where the fight is?
They just pick a side and sling mud at the other side. As long as no one's offering a realistic alternative, an alternative that will make you...
What the fuck are you talking about? The entire Biden administration is the realistic alternative. For real. Like, you can argue that there are moments where they lean more towards the base to kind of throw them a bone now and again. But the vast majority of the things that the Biden administration is focused on is stuff that helps every American, even if they didn't vote for them, in general, all like literally trying to better the lives of everybody. Even when the other side, considers it toxic or evil, but lives from it. Like, they're all at the fucking ribbon cuttings for all their infrastructure projects while decrying communism in the White House.
Your life better, my life better.
You're not an American, none of your fucking business. Like, Trump, let Trump move to England because he's got that place in Scotland. His family's from there. Why don't you just move to the UK and become a citizen, and then he can be prime minister? And I'm sure you would support him. I mean, you like Boris Johnson, right?
Our community's better, the planet better, better world for our...
Yeah, like getting us back in the Paris Accord and moving towards genuine climate goals, as opposed to Trump just getting us out for the fuck of it, going, it was all bullshit.
Children, better world for our elders, respect, tradition.
For our elders? Oh, you mean not letting Social Security sunset?
And the ability to be who you are, as long as...
And by the way, no one takes away my ability to be who I am. That's a fucking farce. And that's the kind of thing that cult dudes try to sell gullible assholes.
No media-based, political-based, corporate-based offers us anything like that.
Yes, they do. All the fucking time. Just like you do. Sometimes they're telling the truth. Sometimes they're lying. You're lying.
Trump's simplicity, his rhetorical ability will remain appealing. And in my opinion, no one's got any right to condemn Donald Trump.
Fuck you. I have every right, both as an American citizen and based on his activity that led to the assault on police officers and members of Congress. Because you want to talk about an alternative? There is no fucking way that I, as a Democrat, am going to vote for a candidate that would be okay with Democrats storming the Capitol and putting a gallows on the fucking grounds that they intended to use. It wasn't a fucking prop.
is serious. And this inserious, oh God.
Unless they're coming from a place of integrity. And in the whole political landscape, I don't see it anywhere.
Well, that's because you're projecting outward onto the world because you're a vapid used car salesman with a man bun selling cult-like spirituality based on alleviating anxiety that you supply at the same time. It's like you sell drugs and run a rehab clinic and you get a kickback from the judge.
But that's just what I think. What do you think?
You don't think.
Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, have a look at one of these two. And remember, sign up to my mailing list so
You're pointing in the wrong place. It's below.
I can communicate with you.
Look at these two. Trump was right, so Trump wasn't lying then. This is the audience he's going for. Basically, what Russell does is he chases who's ever out of power. He was like, when Trump's in, probably full-on communist, trying to appeal to the far, far, far left. And then as soon as Trump's out, start appealing to the far, far, far right. That's what this is. Look at this. Look at these videos. So Trump was right about Clinton and Russia collusion. No, he wasn't. Oh, so Trump wasn't lying then. And I guess that's about, and look at the pictures they choose. Macho picture, Trump, Biden looking up at somebody in the stands from one of the debates, making it look like he doesn't know where he is. And then this is the one where Hillary's cackling because women who laugh out loud are gross and women shouldn't be loud in public. Right, Russell? And then Trump saying, fuck you. So he looks all macho.
Directly. Please subscribe to this channel.
No, I'm not doing it. The rest of this is a fucking ad. So I'm getting out. Man, get a little wound up in that stuff. Dude is gross. It's kind of stunning. Because you kind of expect him to softball his criticisms of Trump, but that's just full on support. I mean, it's basically, now he's just chasing the money from hippie Alex Jones to hippie Tucker Carlson. And it's a great sweet spot. He's just, he's making money hand over fist. And he's found that audience. And it's basically leftover Qs who go, this guy's not even on my side and he supports what I'm doing, even though he fully is on their side. And he protects himself, it seems, from true criticism by ignoring anything that might contradict the sales pitch he needs to. It's like being a used car salesman, never look under the hood before you sell the car. To have your mechanic do it, and if there's something wrong with it, you don't want to hear about it. You just got to sell the fucking car. I need plausible deniability. And so by remaining ignorant about stuff on purpose, because it's complex and we don't know, and can you really believe it, he can basically carve out a safe zone of plausible deniability to bullshit his audience in any direction he wants. It's gross. And by the way, the irony that he is saying, who are you to judge Donald Trump? Because your ethics are in question. Your morals are in question. Meaning me, you, anybody who doesn't like Donald Trump or has genuine criticisms, because somehow we are flawed individuals, or other politicians we voted for are human beings with flaws as well. That if they have any flaws, then they're the same as a dude who would burn every person on earth alive. That how are you to judge Trump? How are you to judge Putin even? Is the argument from Russell Brand. And I would argue, everyone has the right to be critical, even to the point of hypocrisy, because that's part of being a human being. You have the right to do it, and I can push back against it if you do. But I'm not going to say you don't have the right to do it. You don't have to be completely fixed and flawless to criticize a problem you see in another human being, especially when that person has immense power all over the entire fucking globe. Or did. And might again, which is what he's rooting for. You have every right to criticize me, Russell, Trump, Biden, anybody. You do not have to get your house in order entirely before you start criticizing me at all. I wouldn't demand that of anyone. And the idea that that Russell on Trump's behalf would demand that or say that you have no right to do it is fucking gross. It's why we don't live in a monarchy. It's why we have freedom of speech the way we do in the United States, because we absolutely can. I find it like, it's just friggin' ridiculous. And yes, Hal, your lack of popcorn during Republicans shitting on each other is worthy of criticism. It's true. I will say, Doc, in my defense, I did buy some, but it was, I usually just buy the salted popcorn. It's basically plain with a little bit of salt. And this was the butter flavor by accident because I bought the same color bag, and that type of popcorn in the bag is the same kind. And I had some of it, and it's covered in that butter dust, and I was like, blech. I like the butter flavor on some of the other ones, but this one was dusty. You know what I'm talking about? It was like the cheddar or the cheese popcorn, has that dusty film on it. It was gross. So I was like, crap. So I have to go get some more. But you're right. Or I can just pop my own, which is the next step. Big bowl, hot. That's fine. Real butter is way better. Yeah, the butter dust is nasty. It just grossed me out. I'm not going to do it. Life is full of complex things. What do you eat? What do you eat? How do you know? And so Donald Trump cuts to the middle and just says, fish delight, Starburst, fuck it, sodas, diabetes, dead. That's all that matters. Smart food was the best, not anymore. They were good. But that version is gross. Okay, I got to go. But oh my God, 1,013 subscribers. Thank you guys for helping me achieve that goal at Twitch, the same way the folks at YouTube, all you viewers at YouTube, helped me reach the 30,000 mark and beyond. And we'll continue to grow this organically without purchasing 1 million people or joining a network that floods fake supporters, and Indian watch accounts to my channel just to boost me to bullshit levels to cheat the algorithm. Not saying anyone's done that, but and I will continue to do this. And if you guys feel like I'm saying stuff that you appreciate or you think is unique or funny or charming or worth viewing to others, please feel free to share the show or the clips from the show on the channel at infotainmentwars.com, on your social media and other places. It always helps. It is true that commenting on these videos does help with the algorithm as well. So if you want to just go pop in there an emoji, a thumbs up. Also on Facebook, by the way, all the Facebook people, love you guys. If you use the laughing, crying, screaming emojis that are in there besides just typing stuff, where you decide whether you like it, the algorithm apparently at Facebook cues off of that more than any other thing. So if you use like the laughing emoji or the crying emoji or the fuck you emoji or whatever they have, like the 6 that they have in there, if you use any of those, that boosts me more than even writing stuff. It's super weird. It's obviously a manipulation that Facebook is trying, but that's what would help. So I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time. By the way, tomorrow, radio show, the HAL SPARKS radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern, and 11 Central. We'll see you then. And I think Philip Bittner's going to join us. And that means I've got to hang up, go finish setting up the other computer so that I can have him on as a guest and use the system that I have. So anyways, you guys are wonderful. I will see you later. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Bye. Grill in the Mist, I'm sorry, I will not forward that super chat to MAGA, to Donald Trump. I will not do it. I'm sorry, I can't ethically, but I appreciate you punking them. That was very sweet.
Thank you, Deanne, for the celebration super chat. Thank you for the bombast.